A very good evening, a warm welcome to the Spitfire Ground, St Lawrence, and live stream coverage proudly supported by Cluberly as the Kent Spitfires take on the old enemy, Surrey. My name's Dave Fulton, former captain here at Kent, and it's a pleasure to be with you once again as Kent open their home campaign. They have, of course, beaten Gloucestershire last night. They were washed out against Middlesex after posting a pretty decent total first time around. And alongside me is Cameron Emmanuel Burns from the Kent Cricket Podcast. And Cameron, good to have you with us. And Kent has started all right in this competition.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dave. It's really good to be here. Very excited for this one, the old rivalry. Two teams, slightly mixed starts to the season, I would say. Kent coming with a bit more form, but form kind of goes out the window with this one.
Yeah, it certainly does, and Surrey always a formidable outfit, albeit they've lost to Somerset, they did beat Glamorgan, and they've lost to Hampshire. They batted first 3 times, and they've yet to get to 150, which with their power pack batting lineup is a bit of a surprise. Jason Roy, the one batter to really shine. We'll get to Surrey in a little bit, just to let you know that the toss was won by Kent, Sam Billings opting to bowl first. I can tell you the couple of changes from the team at Lord's last night, and that is that Jack Leaning has come in for Chris Benjamin, who damaged the shoulder whilst getting run out at Lord's, and Matt Parkinson, the leg spinner, is in for Nathan Gilchrist. So just a little subtle change to the balance of the team. In full, it's Daniel Bell-Drummond, Tawanda Miyeye, Zach Crawley, Joe Denley, Sam Billings, Grant Stewart, Tom Rogers, the overseas bowler from the Melbourne Renegades, Fred Klassen, Wes Agar, who now plays for the Sydney Thunder in T20 cricket, Jack Leaning, who won't bat right the way down there, and Matt Parkinson. As for Surrey, Dom Sibley, former England opener, of course, Ollie Pope, England's vice-captain in Test cricket, Jason Roy, who's been in a really good touch, 92 off 54 against Somerset, 69 off 49 against Glamorgan. He top scored, in fact, in all 3 of Surrey's matches so far. Sam Curran, the captain, as now is Laurie Evans, dangerous batter, Ollie Sykes, Jordan Clark, Chris Jordan, former captain, Mitchell Santner, the left-arm spinner, Nathan Smith, his New Zealand colleague, and Dan Worrell. So that is a pretty decent-looking Surrey side. Conditions, Cameron, fair to say that it's still a little breezy and a little chilly, but the good news is that the rain that was here earlier in the day has gone away, and hopefully it stays away.
Yeah, hopefully it stays away. The clouds are brewing overhead. I think good toss to win to get our seamer attack out there bowling it. The Surrey lineup, like you say, I don't know, these are maybe my eyes, but it's looking a bit ominous, these clouds. Hopefully they drift past us. Yeah,
I think they sometimes slide down the back of the Frank Woolley and the pavilion. And if it does slide down there, it hopefully will miss us. That tends to be the way of things. I was just speaking to Martin McCaig up in hospitality. I mean, it looks pretty gloomy on your screen there. It's a little bit brighter than that, but that is where the weather comes from.
Yeah, a touch brighter than on the live stream.
Actually, that's not where the weather comes from. That's where the weather comes from. Left of screen there, over the kind of Cowdrey and Frank Woolley. That's where it tends to come from, and it hopefully will slide away.
Well, I've got a question for you, if that's all right. The thing is, out of the 2 of us, you're the one who's played in one of these old rivalries. Is there a bit more on it for these Kent players out there today, or is it just another game for them?
Well, I think playing against Surrey, there's always plenty on it. I think in this modern day of professionalism, they would say that they give 100% against every opposition, but there's no doubt that beating Surrey, particularly when they're at their star-studded best, is extra special, and they're the games that I look back on now as a retired player and remember, victories at Guildford and the odd one at the Oval, not many, a couple down here at Canterbury, and you look back on them fondly, and I'm sure these guys will as well. So there's always a little bit extra something. That's not to say they try harder in this one than they do in the others, but it just seems to mean a little bit more, and it will mean quite a bit, of course, to Adam Hollyoake, who was once Surrey captain and the old enemy, but is now coach of Kent. So an interesting time for him.
Absolutely, and I think he gives a really good competitiveness to this side. You've heard a lot of the players speaking during the season, the likes of Zach Crawley, Bell-Drummond, how he's giving them a bit more grit, and I think us Kent fans are looking forward to seeing that this evening. And what better time to show it? The first blast game at home, Friday night, packed crowd here. It should be a really good one.
Yeah, it should be a good one, and Smokey, Adam Hollyoake, call him by his proper name rather than his nickname, he does bring that real combative, competitive edge, but it must be a strange feeling to be here played here a lot of times as a Surrey captain and didn't get much change out of the crowd. A lot of silence every time he hit the ball to the boundary, and probably a little bit of heckling as well, because they can be quite partisan, the Kent crowd, and good on them for it.
Absolutely.
Now they've got to kind of cheer on his men. So interesting dynamic for Hollyoaks. Just a reminder that at the toss, Sam Billings won it, opted to bowl first. Cameron, I agree with him. I think it's a good decision to bowl, and Kent years ago in their, or 4 years ago as now is, in their title winning season, did that quite well. Chasing, they made a real thing of it.
Absolutely. And last year, a bit of a blip, I hope, for this Kent side. We've got great white ball pedigree. The players coming in this evening, such as Leaning, Parkinson, especially Parky, he has done wonders with the white ball. I remember when speaking to him last year when he joined Kent, one of the reasons was playing in front of this blast crowd, turning it from the pavilion end primarily. He had a bit of a tough start at Gloucestershire, dropped last night, back in it tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing him go this evening.
You mentioned that white ball pedigree. A lot of these players were the same players that won the Blast in 2021. Their title defence didn't go great. They finished bottom of the South Group in 2022. They finished bottom of the South Group last year. 5th place, just missed out on the quarter-final stage in 2023. But it's interesting, it's the same group of players. You can win it one year, you can come bottom of your group the next, and trying to put your finger on why. I think a lot of it last year was just batters who weren't in form. Zach Crawley, I don't think, got to 20. And he looks in far better touch this time around. He's played really nicely in the 2 innings he's had. So it's momentum, it's a form game. I remember Daniel Bell-Drummond in 2021 when we won it, being the leading run scorer. Couldn't buy a run in 2022. And T20 is that kind of game. You ride your luck a bit, you get away, you get some momentum, and then you can fly.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Zach there. I wanted to get your thoughts on him batting at 3 this year. It seems like, from my point of view, they're going with Mieye and Bell-Drummond at the top for some consistency. We know that Zach's going to leave us probably after this weekend, and so we want to have that consistent top order. But I thought the extra responsibility, him coming in at 3, he's played superb in the last 2 games. Is that the confidence that's come from the score against Zimbabwe?
I mean, it helps without question. I think he said something that alarmed me a little bit last year, which was, we interviewed him before the very first match, and I said to him, what's your approach going to be? And he says his approach was to go, he said, I'm going to go even harder. You know, and he likes to go at a decent lick as it is. And I kind of thought, even harder? You know, surely just give yourself a bit of time and just play your normal cricket shots because you score quick enough. And that just set the alarm bells ringing. I think what's happened with him batting at 3 is it just gives him a little bit more time, which seems strange because you've actually got less time at 3 than you have when you open. But of course, the openers go out with the power play very much in mind and trying to make the most of those 36 balls that you get. So sometimes there's an onus to go from ball 1 and crash bang wallop while the field's up. And I thought he went too hard too early, didn't give himself a chance. He just kept finding fielders last year. At number 3, you get yourself in, you can play an innings, you're the guy around which others can play. He's got so many gears, he can carve up an innings in many different ways.
Absolutely, and I think it's a bit strange to say this of such a international standard player, but I think he's still finding his way in T20 cricket. Last night was actually only his 9th 50, and you kind of saw the way he got out. There was still over 4 overs to go. He hit Holman for 2 big sixes, and then went again when really we could have done with him going into those last few overs. Although, absolute scenes from Mr. Gilchrist and Clarkson at the end. Gilchrist slapping 6 for that last ball really got us up to a good total, and it would have been really interesting to have seen us try and defend that 170 total against Middlesex last night, but didn't get the chance in. But yes, Zach, I think finding his way at 3 seems a really good position for him.
Yeah, and you know what? It might not have been a bad thing. I mean, you would have fancied defending 117, and the seam options that Sam Billings had at his disposal were pretty formidable. But what it does do is it keeps them nice and fresh for this game. Surrey, similar situation, albeit they lost to Hampshire on Duckworth Lewis because there was enough of the second innings to constitute a match. But these guys will be champing at the bit. Didn't get the opportunity to bowl and defend that total. Well, they're going to get an opportunity to bowl now. Nice and fresh. 1 win and 1 nil result under their belts. And Sam Billings, who's got such pedigree, hasn't he? The much-travelled Kent captain who's won things all around the world in the Big Bash and the PSL and the IPL. Of course, with the Oval Invincibles at the 100. Great to have him back. Disappointing little run in the championship, but Rogers, Agar, Billings in fresh bring a real new energy.
Absolutely, and this is Agar's first game, or first run out at least with the ball. He had one ball to face last night. Not great things I saw on Instagram leading up to it. He was new Hell for Leather bats, and he only got to use his new stick for one ball last night, but we'll get to see him with the rock tonight. I can't imagine he'll be opening. I imagine it'll be Clarkson still with the new ball with Rogers the other end. It'll be really good to see this Kent seam attack, especially with the two Aussie boys.
Yeah, it's strong, isn't it, with those two guys up and running. Rogers was brilliant at Bristol. I mean, that was a 4-run. It was a high-scoring game, won by 4 runs, 208 for 3. Gloucestershire 204 for 7. They nearly got up with some late order hitting, but Rogers, the standout bowler on the park by a distance, 4 overs, 2 for 22. Everyone else was going at 10s and 12s. He went at a shade over 5s and was ultimately, as well as the batters played, he was a difference with the ball.
Yeah, he was class above the rest, and I actually think until the last over, it was kind of a done deal at that point. He'd only gone for 8 runs in his first 3 overs. So yeah, no, he's been a superb find for Kent over the last half of last year, and looking forward to what he gets up to this year.
Well, it is going to be Fred Clarkson, just trying to see who the Surrey batters are. It's usually Dom Sibley and Ollie Pope. And I mentioned that Surrey, 3 games they've batted first. They have yet to get to 150. That is not what you associate with a Surrey side. There has been a bit of weather around, as we mentioned. Maybe the pitches have done a little bit more. But Jason Roy has been the man to watch. But at the moment, it is Ollie Pope on strike to Klassen. But a swing and a chance, half chance. It's been whipped away. It's going to go down the hill for 4 just for a second. Is that Joe Denley at mid-wicket? No, it's not. Who's it at mid-wicket?
Is that Zach?
Zach at mid-wicket,
Well,
yeah.
he almost picked up the tallest man on the ground there. Sprawling effort from Crawley. Couldn't quite reach it.
Yeah, those Inspector Gadget arms at mid-wicket, I just thought for a second.
Interesting to see Crawley actually at mid-wicket. Normally you'd expect him either in the slips or mid-off.
An easy-paced kind of surface. Detect that after just 2 balls. That was back of a length, and Pope had all the time in the world just to turn that off his hip. Yeah, probably just the one slip, a wide slip, because Klassen is going to look to swing it back into the right-hander. I think if there was a left-hander on strike, you might even see a couple of slips with the swing, but it is Leaning who's posted at the wider, like a kind of second slip, try and cover as much space as you can. Sam Billings able to dive to his right too. Banged in, and again almost did Dom Sibley for a lack of pace. As a batter, you think if he bowls that length again, that's disappearing in the flats.
You're not going to get much swing from that length, but it is really good to see Clarkson back on the pitch. Obviously he's been missing for a while now. Gives a good balance to this white ball attack.
Nice looking shot from Sibley, and he's going to get runs here. Goes up the hill towards the Nackington Road. Didn't get all of it. Grant Stewart in pursuit. They'll get a couple. Think about a third, but they declined. Just a hint of swing from Klassen. Nice looking shot from Sibley. Klassen, interestingly, opting to bang the previous ball in, perhaps expecting Sibley not to play the pull shot. Strong on the drive, and he's very much a leg side player, Dom Sibley, so you want to stay off his pads. Is his strong area. It's just going to be the 1 run down to finer of the 2 men on the deep square fence. But you're right about Klassen being back in the team. Every T20 side, in terms of your ideal makeup, you want a leg spinner, you want a left armour for variety, and Kent have got that. Klassen missing all of last season with a back injury.
And he's got good pedigree himself, playing Manchester Originals before that. Has he been picked up this year?
Not sure. I'm looking at Liam, who's ignoring us. This one cut away, but it's picked out backward point. I think it's Daniel Bell-Drummond. Good bit of work from him. So the first over, not too expensive. Not a lot happening in truth. Hint of swing. No great pace in this surface, and Surrey unscathed. 8 without loss.
It's really good to see Sibley at the top of the order for Surrey, although he's caused us a lot of pain in the past, especially in Red Bull. But he had this narrative, obviously, as a bit of a plodder, bit of a blocker for the England side. But okay, he's not got off to the start this season that he may have liked to, but I like to see him up there, especially in this star-studded side. There's a space for him, space for that kind of a batter.
Yeah, we'll find out, won't we, tonight? I mean, You get someone like Dom Sibley at the top of the order, it means other players can just express themselves. You kind of know what you're going to get from him. If he scores a 110, 115, he's probably doing his job.
Yep, it is Rogers from the pavilion end. Appeal there, it looked like it was just drifting down leg side. Given Sibley the big up there and almost went. But yeah, that one's just drifting down leg. But good start from Rogers there.
Yeah, the well-travelled Tom Rogers, he's had 4 big bash sides. They've only got 8 teams. He's played for half of them.
Well, was in the team of the tournament last year. Big bash for his work at the Renegades.
He was. He really impressed in his short stint when he came over here. I mean, Kent's race was pretty much run at the group stage when he arrived.
Cut nicely, strongly there from Pope, and that will race away to the boundary for 4. And that's Pope's second boundary for the day. Not quite the line that Rogers should be bowling there to the England international.
It was a bit of a pie, in truth. That's not what Rogers is all about. They do have the slope to contend with here, of course, at Canterbury. Bowled beautifully at Bristol on what is a pretty flat ground, and it can just drag you, so they tell me. I didn't bowl much. To drag the odd one wide, bowling from the pavilion end.
Back on there, and Pope has to scurry back. Good bit of fielding there from Denley, the evergreen Denley, swooping it up in the covers there. Pope had to get out the dive, but better line, better length there, pushing Pope back. No freebie on offer that time.
Yeah, that is exactly what the Spitfires would have wanted. Early run out. I think it was a chance. It hit. He might have been gone. It was. He was off and got sent back from Sibley, and Joe Denley, even at the age of 37, 38, whatever he is now, he's not a man you take on lightly. Got a bullet arm. He's still very quick around the ground. Threw it, bounced over.
Once again, cut away, and that will make its way to the boundary. Second time in 4 balls, Pope latching onto that wide delivery there from Rogers. Perhaps, like you say, just struggling with the slope touch. Not the best start from the Australian.
Yeah, well, rule number 1 is no width in T20 cricket. You mentioned that run-out opportunity and the line and length of that delivery, which was bang on off stump. The 2 that have gone for 4 have been 1.5 wide, and batters will just throw their hands through those.
Much fuller, a bit wider there, driven to mid-off. Was that a chance there? Hard to see from where we are, but I think Pope made his ground pretty easily there.
Yeah, it was Denley again. This was a much more comfortable single, but a bit more width on offer. It was fuller and a hint of swing, but Pope really missed out there.
Not quite what we want from the opening bowlers here. As we said, the opening batters here for Surrey have had a bit of a struggle at the start of the season. You don't want to give them any freebies to get their way into the tournament. Oh, great work off his own bowling there from Rogers to keep that ball down to a dot, and it's the second over, and Surrey 18 for none.
Yeah, 10 off the over. 18 without loss. Decent start from Surrey. They haven't had to up the ante too much. They just put the bad balls away. There was one on the pads first up for Pope, and a couple of wide ones from Rogers. He has dispatched. He's scoring at a rate of 200 runs per 100 balls. 14 off 7. Sibley, as you'd expect, slightly more circumspect. And it's going to be Pope on strike. It looks like it's going to be Klassen to continue. Just interested to see what lengths he bowls, having learnt a bit about this surface from his last set. It's a well-taken single, because it was not where Pope was aiming, and sometimes that can throw the fielding side. Bit of a leading edge, and Pope just gives him the thumbs up. Dom Sibley, bit of a late call, but they get through.
Yeah, Pope was squared up there from that delivery from Klassen. Better length, better line. See if he can follow this one up against Sibley.
Yeah, Dom Sibley won't be too flustered about his scoring rate. He knows what he's about. This one is a nice looking shot. They're going to hurry here. Grant Stewart with the throw, but comfortable single, and that is Sibley's role. He'll look to put away the bad ball, but if he can turn the strike over, get Pope on strike, you'd imagine the current England man. And of course, it'll be fascinating to see what happens come the India Test series, because you can't squeeze all of them in with Jacob Bethell coming back, Zach Crawley, Ollie Pope under pressure, but big hundreds against Zimbabwe. How much will that be taken into account? Because with respect, it was just Zimbabwe, but You can't do much more than they did.
Is it too early to ask you which way you'd be going with this?
That is up there and out there, and it's flayed, and it's a misfield as well.
Leaning into the side there, kind of jumping over one there. Square drive from Pope and races away to the boundary.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't go down as he normally would there, Jack Leaning. I don't quite know. Maybe didn't pick it up straight away. That can be the case when you're fielding square of the wicket. It would have been a brilliant stop had he got a mitt on it. Come back to that England selection in just a second as Klassen is in again. It's a better delivery and he beats him all ends up. They're not going to get a bye. Sam Billings might be hurt there. Sometimes you always got him on the chin. Got him on the chin. Some men would have knocked them out, but not Sam Billings. Tough as old boots.
Beaten for lack of pace there, it seemed. Bounces on its way through to Billings, and that's what's caught him out and hit him in the choppers. But interesting delivery there.
Yeah, I think we can have another look at that in just a second. Sam Billings, I mean, pointing at the ground suspiciously. This one, oh yeah, actually came up off his wrist and hit him in the face. So we'll have his helmet on when he's up to the stumps. Just goes the cap when he's standing back. You can still wear one, and now they've probably got to do some sort of concussion check.
Can't afford anything happening to Billings here. Not only is he our skipper and a quality batsman, but with the injury to Benjamin last night, who else would be taking the gloves?
They get Jack Leaning in there. I'm not quite sure.
After his misfield, yeah.
Yeah, come out of backward point, you're now keeping. I think, to be fair, they're just having... This is what has to happen. It's like when you get hit on the head when you're batting. It can be the most glancing of blows, just a little kind of snick, and it goes down to fine leg, and you have to get checked over. Dan George, the physio, on, taking a look at him. He's just flexing the jaw a little bit, but...
Tough as old boots he is, he's fine.
The chiseled jaw is okay. Just wake him up a little bit.
But yes, Klassen found something on the wicket there. Hopefully he can find that spot again. Get through Pope's defences.
This one is whipped. They're going to have to hurry. Stewart shies, dive, misses, and another single. And Kent not quite been on it in the field. The shies have just missed the stumps. We've had a dive over one as well. These are the small margins in T20 cricket. Plucks out the stumps, or had Denley's hit earlier. A couple of early wickets. Put the skids under Surrey, who, as I mentioned earlier, haven't got to 150 in their 3 innings batting first in this year's Blast. They've made a decent start here. Scoop, very effective. And he gets 4. So that is the first boundary for Dom Sibley, showing that he's not all about the forward and backward defensives. He's got a bit of improvisation in his locker. Pretty decent over that from Fred Klassen. Rather marred by that last delivery.
I love that shot from Sibley. As we were saying earlier, just you wouldn't have imagined it during his Test career that you'd be seeing Sibley, opening the batting here. Poor Surrey making those audacious shots there. Field up at a fine leg and lovely shot.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd almost be inclined to drop fine leg back to him and make him strike it somewhere else. Change of bowling here.
So Agar come in for his first delivery of the season. Again, cut away. There is protection out there. Klassen dives. Just can't quite pull it back in. So once again, Pope is being fed that cut shot. Bit of a loosener there from Agar's first ball on English soil this year. And Pope races to 24 off 12. Driven, beats the despairing dive from Denley, but no single taken this time. Cleaned up there by Grant Stewart. Better length there from Agar.
It's probably worth pointing out that if you look at Kent's side, as good as it looks on paper, you'd still maybe back there batting over the bowling. We saw down at Bristol 208 for 3 with runs for Daniel Bill-Drummond 60 to Mayeye 42. Zach smashed a quick 37, and Joe Denley struck at 200 for 48.
Good line, popping up there straight into the hands of Crawley. Better backup deliveries here from Agar, but yes, you're absolutely right. The bowling took a bit of a beating against Gloucestershire, although their first 10 overs and their power play was pretty good from Kent. It was after that where Charles Worth got a bit into his work and the lower order. Yes, it's a bit tricky, but hopefully we can get an early one here. Slow ball there from Agar, chipped in the air. Oh, direct hit from Grant Stewart, but I think Pope was in comfortably. You do get that with this opening partnership, especially with Pope, these quick singles.
Yeah, just had a big wind-up there, Grant Stewart, didn't he? It took a while to get to him. Slower ball, and then he got done by the lack of pace, Ollie Pope. He just chipped it to Grant Stewart, and as soon as he chipped it, he recognised he hadn't middled it. He was off, and then Stewart had a big wind-up, which just gives the batter that extra split second to get home.
Interesting that Agar's already gone to the slower ball, just 4 balls into his spell. Might say a bit about this wicket. On the leg side, we know Sibley's strong there. He clips it away, and that will race away to about before down to that leg side boundary. Not the line that Agar should be going for, especially to Sibley.
It's a little bit about holding your nerve here, I think. It looks like a slow surface, looks like the best time to bat is probably going to be at the start. And you might leak a few boundaries with Surrey looking to come quite hard, even Sibley now striking at 150. They put 166 in terms of strike rate, so when the power play is over and the fielding restrictions relax, you can start to build some pressure.
There we go, back on it. Defensive shot just out, picked up by Grant Stewart, and that finishes the over off well there from Wes Agar. But I must say, apart from that shot off the last over from Sibley over the fine leg, I don't think they've had to really do anything that's out of the ordinary. They've been given deliveries to hit away for 4, and that would probably be the most disappointing bit about Kent's start today.
Yep, absolutely right. Just been proper cricket shots. I haven't had to force the issue. Surrey just react to what comes down. We're just looking at some people who are enjoying the ambience here at the Spitfire Ground, St Lawrence. It's a pretty decent crowd, maybe not a complete packed house. The weather earlier in the day might have something to do with that. But it's going to be a change of ends for Tom Rogers, running from the Nackington Road end, short and wide. He got away with that one. He was a little slipped over, perhaps a little greasy out there. Mentioned the earlier weather, but that was in the slot for Pope. Perhaps just the fact that the slope is back into him might have been at play there, bottom edge.
I wonder if this could potentially be his preferred end. You imagine Clarkson gets the choice, taking the first over. Maybe Rogers will be happy from this end, although that slip maybe says otherwise. But yeah, Pope will be disappointed with that one right in his area where he's put it away all day.
We get a single here. Stuart scurries across. He won't shy this time. Just throws it over the top to Sam Billings. Comfortable single. It's a better line from Rogers.
I imagine we'll be waiting until after the power play to bring in spin.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see Parky before. I mean, Joe Denley and Jack Leaning have both bowled in the power play. Sometimes the tradition has been to start with an over of spin. Kent haven't gone that route today. Rogers is in. Nice looking delivery. It's clipped firmly by Sibley, straight to Zach Crawley at mid-wicket. There's no run. So yeah, that has often been the way. But I think given the overhead conditions, given the fact there might be a little bit of moisture in this pitch because of the earlier rain, it's been under covers, probably thinking their best chance of going bang bang and taking a couple of early scalps is with the seamers, but hasn't worked yet.
I could be made to eat these words, but you imagine the wicket's only going to improve throughout the day. Like you say, it's been, I believe Bilbo said at the toss, it's been under covers for the last few days with the inclement weather around.
So Rogers in, Yorker, slower ball Yorker, and a nice bit of bowling that from the Australian. Sibley was walking down the wicket and didn't work for him, played right over the top of it.
As I said in the previous over, Kent's seam attack have obviously noticed there's not that much sideways movement in the air or off the deck, so they've gone to the slow ball tactic pretty early, but it's been effective so far. Interesting to see if they follow up with it throughout.
And it'd be interesting to see what Surrey do, because sometimes when you bowl second, you can learn quite a bit from how the opposition go. Just a miscue from Sibley, who again was through on that a little early. Got it on the toe. In fact, he might have hurt himself here. Just might have got it on the wrist. In fact, yeah, he's holding his arms in a bit of bother here. So going to be another delay. We had a delay when Sam Billings was chinned by a ball that ricocheted off his wrist. And now Sibley is in quite some bother. I just wonder here whether Surrey might be advised to slide Sibley off and get Jason Roy on. No disrespect to Dom Sibley, but
the informed man.
Yeah, Jason Roy has gone 92 off 54 against Somerset, 69 off 47 against Glamorgan, and a more watchful 37 off 33 against Hampshire last evening. So
13 sixes as well in the 3 innings. He's been back to his bashing best. It's good to see. Obviously, hopefully, perhaps not tonight, but Roy, somewhat of a forgotten man, of course, from the England setup, still plying his trade around the globe in different franchises, but has started this season in red-hot form. It'd be interesting to see a replay of the Sibley injury. Was he? I'm wondering if he played it a tad early.
Yeah, he was definitely early on it. I think this is a slow pitch.
Slow deck, yeah.
You play your home cricket at the Oval, which can be a decent pace surface. Then you come away from home, and the Kent boys would have netted on surfaces very similar to this. They net out in the middle as well as the net area in front of the woolly stand. So they're used to this slope. They're used to the pace of the surface. Surrey will have to adjust to it, and Sibley was definitely early on that shot. You're right.
He looks in some discomfort. Potentially he's going to be carrying on here, I imagine. Will the magic spray be coming out?
Yeah, a bit of a conversation. Looks like he's all right. Tough boy. Painkillers. Bit of a swig, and then get on with it. But I don't mind seeing Dom Sibley. No disrespect to him, but who would I want out there at the moment? From a Kent perspective, Dom Sibley or a belligerent Jason Roy and Sam Curran and et al.
Yeah,
can really fire it up in terms of a strike rate. Dom Sibley does a good job at the top, but once you get to kind of 40-50 for none, if I was Surrey, I'd want to see Jason Roy out there.
Yes, absolutely. Although looking down the side, you've got kind of the newbie in Ollie Sykes in at 6, I believe. He's been promoted with Tom Curran not playing tonight. They've got a lot of players here with Sykes, Jordan, Smith, Clark coming in this evening, who of course can be pretty devastating. But you wouldn't say they're of the class of the Roys, Evans. So really, get through some of these early polls, put some pressure on them.
Short ball, and that is out of here. That is not where you bowl to Dom Sibley. He had a look at the last one. He was late. He was early, sorry, on the last one. He just swiveled on that and dispatched it. So Cameron Emmanuel Burns is going to make way for Big Mac. Martin McCaig is going to join us in commentary, fresh from his little stint in the hospitality suites. 135 first-class matches, 166 List A games, over 660 wickets for Kent. Best in first-class cricket, a 9 for 86, and shared many a good time on the field with Big Mac. Mac, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks, Dave. It's lovely evening and getting some cricket in, but we've not started very well.
No, we haven't started well. I mean, there's been some missed fields, there's been some short wide ones, and Kent just looking a little bit rusty. They might have been better for a gander last night at Lord's. Of course, they didn't get the opportunity to bowl, and they just look a little bit like they're undercooked, would be my observation.
Yeah, it's you were against a very, very good world-class batting order as well, which doesn't help.
There's going to be Agar to continue from the pavilion end. He's in and, just content on this occasion. Ollie Pope just to nudge it into the offside for a single. I mean, I was thinking when Sibley went down with that, he got hit on the arm, that maybe they'd be well advised, Surrey, to slide him off and slide Jason Roy in. It's the kind of thing that used to happen to me in one-day cricket. It's almost like you've done your job, you've seen off a new ball for 3 overs, off you go, and get some proper strikers of a ball. And then as soon as I was suggesting that, he swiveled on one and smashed it out the ground.
Yeah, I think he was sitting back waiting for that one, unfortunately. He's hitting it well. Pope is just picking anything off that's short and wide.
So Agar in again, slower ball, change of pace, and this one is drilled down the ground. He's going to get another boundary, is Dom Sibley. So as soon as I kind of suggested that they'd be better off with him back in the shed and Jason Roy out there, he's shown his white ball quality. Swiveled 6 and a straight drive for 4. And he is flying as well. He's 22 off 14. And that is the 50 up for the visitors. 50 without loss, and it's coming good time, 5.2 overs. What kind of response has Wes Agar got? It's straight, and it's been turned around the corner. Just the single this time.
I mean, I never played any T20s, but the margin for error is just watching the first 5.5 overs. It's just incredible. Anything, yeah, you have to be a little bit variable, because if you're predictable, you just get hit. But the Surrey batters have just been in great form all night.
Yeah, and we were saying a little bit earlier, they haven't actually been in great form in this competition. 3 times they've batted first. They've yet to get to 150. So as they go short, this one is pulled away. It's in the gap. It might just be reeled in. Tawanda Mieye is down there and he's diving, and that is a pretty decent stop. And they get a couple of runs. So nice stroke from Pope. He didn't get all of it. Good stop from Mieye. And Kent need a bit more of that, because they've dived over a few.
Yeah, especially at sort of backward point. I mean, first ball, the innings pretty well should have been stopped, and, you know, that sets the standard for the night, unfortunately. So, you know, pick up a couple of wickets, who knows, just slow the run rate down a little.
Agar is in, and this one is full and is drilled again down the ground. This time it's intercepted at mid-off by Grant Stewart. Just the single. Lights beginning to take effect. We are well into June now, so it won't get dark till quite a lot later. So what difference, Mac, do those lights and do that kind of dusky time of night start to have?
Yeah, the next sort of 20 minutes as a batter, I mean, I didn't really have to bat at this stage, but I know, talking to the batters like yourself in the team in the 90s and 2000s, it was always a bit tricky in this light.
Yeah, it's a funny light where the lights don't really take full effect. They're on. It's quite murky. Just before we went on air, the sun was out. It threatened to be a really nice evening, but it's a bit chilly. I've got several layers. You've just got the shirt on.
Well, I've got several layers under that, Dave, as you well know.
No comment, big man, no comment. But we're going to see the first bit of spin tonight, and it's not going to be Matt Parkinson. It's going to be Joe Denley on the Nackington Road end. So Joe's more than useful leg breaks. There was last night, the televised game was at Lord's, Middlesex, Kent, and they, when the rain was going on, they showed the final that Kent won in 2021, and Joe had a really good game with a ball in that particular match, and over the years has been a more than useful leg break bowler. He's in now, he's bowling to Pope, and that is filthy, and he's got hit for 6. That was a real loosener from Denley. You build him up, and he lets you down with a knee-high full bunger. And the Pope says thank you very much. Difficult art, though, leg spin, I will say that. And that.
Yeah, and I've only ever seen Joe bowl from the other end, from the Pavilion end, and normally opening up. So to come on at this stage from this end with a short boundary leg side to right-handers, interesting choice.
Yeah, absolutely interesting choice. You're right. We did talk about the fact that sometimes he does open, turning it away from the right-handers, but you're right, from the other end with a bigger boundary to the leg side. So pressure on for Denley here. This one is a full toss again, and that's been nailed, and it could be another boundary. Good bit of work from Jack Leaning. They will get 2, but that is what Kent need. Leaning, who dived over one earlier in the piece. Good stop that. Joe yet to land one.
No, and, you know, just leg spin with a slope pushing it down to the leg side. He needs to sort of fix that line.
He's done exactly that, but Pope equal to it. Smears it into the offside. Mieye is a good fielder with a good arm, and he prevents the second. That is a bit more like it.
It is. Yeah, better length and better line for this, especially for the field he's got as well. I know he's got 3 on the leg side, but, you know, you don't mind the odd swipe here. It's from that line, it can go anywhere.
So mid-wicket coming in to Sibley, who likes to just turn it in that area. He just punches this one to long off. Probably the way of things, you know, Sibley, not that you really have an anchor role in 2020 as such, but he'll be contented to keep turning the strike over, wallop the bad one, and let Pope be the aggressor, you'd think. That is square driven off the front foot. I think they'll come back this time because Mayeye had to go 15 yards to his left, and they do get back for 2. So an expensive over this. It's difficult, not only bowling leg spin, but quite often you get an over and then you get whipped out of the attack. You know, you'd be used to bowling a spell where you can get into your work. You don't have a lot of time to do that in T20.
No, they had to have a look at spin though, just break things up. But so far, you know, another straight drive down to long off. They're really just nudging it and putting the bad balls away. What's that, 12 off the over, 13 off the over? Yeah, not a great start, but, you know, we've got to try something at the other end now, and potentially Matt Parkinson maybe.
Yep, you caught it. Matt Parkinson is on from his favoured end, and with the leg side boundary considerably longer up the hill towards the hospital side of the ground, the indoor school, the Colin Cowdrey stand. So that'll help him. He bowls it quite slowly. He is a spinner of the ball. He will ask different questions, then he tries to push it through. Different two leg spinners, but they go about their work in different ways.
Quite looking forward to him bowling. I've been sat with his dad all night, and he's been very nervous about this evening.
He's short on this occasion, but it is punched straight back to him by Pope, and that is a rare dot ball. It's a fine shot over extra cover. That is a difficult pocket to access, even with the ball turning away from the right-hander. It was tossed up by Parkinson. That is his method. And Pope picked that gap, dissected Crawley and long off. This one is flatter. And the Pope almost anticipating it. Just a little paddle sweep for 2. This is good batting. They might get a third. They will. Sibley will get back.
That's great running. Yeah, it's obviously bowling with no pace, so anything that's going up that hill is going to pull up. But that field is very, very, very square, and so when he's got it fine, it's tough to get less than a couple there.
Short again, and punched, pulled out to deep mid-wicket, just the single. All the fielders back on the leg side, bar the 45, who remains in place for Pope after that last little paddle shot.
It's all battered.
So 50 for Ollie Pope. 50 of 29 deliveries. He won't be part of this Surrey side for much longer. He's got the India Test series to worry about, although some question marks over who will play, of course, in that England lineup, with Jacob Bethell coming back and perhaps Pope and Crawley, one of them under pressure, as Sibley drives this one, attractively enough, out to long off. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Bit of England selection, Mako. How much does a 100 or a big 100 from Pope and Crawley, how much does it count because it was Zimbabwe? Does it get taken into account? It's nice to have on your record.
Yeah, and I still think it's important to have time in the middle. You know, Zach especially has struggled, and there was a lot of pressure on him prior to the Test match, but he went out there and you know, took his time. It wasn't exactly Baz ball, but he spent time in the middle, consolidated his position. He knew he was under pressure. With Bethell being around, I think it's only a good thing for English cricket that you've got people knocking on the door, willing to sort of, you know, it's a great sign, especially with if we get any injuries coming into the Ashes series, and every game's important now.
Yep, they're good problems to have, aren't they? I'm going to take a little break, and we'll get Cameron Emmanuel Burns back on commentary here just to lead things up.
Thank you, Dave. I'm back on.
Yeah, change of bowling there with Glasson back from the Nackington Road end. Starts with a dot down to deep point.
Well, hi, Martin. Lovely to meet you.
You too.
It's, well, Pope's got off to a bit of a rocket, hasn't he?
Well, he's a quality player, and he's not missed the bad ball, and unfortunately there's been a few of them, so he's cashed in.
Well, that's it. We have served up a few pies and right into his wheelhouse there, especially through square. better there from Carson, worked away. Now, at least with the field spread, hopefully Kent can regain a bit of control.
Yeah, they've brought a short third man in and put those two men sort of like a deep 45 on the offside and a deep point. So, and that's been where Ollie Pope's been hitting most of his runs, apart from the full bungers that have disappeared over leg side. But
worked away once again from Sibley, who's just ticking along nicely, not really having to do much here with Pope going so strongly. As you mentioned, those huge sixes, I think he might be in for a few broken glass bills, flats there. Some real pies being served up to him and put away.
yeah, he's quite diminutive in stature, but those sixes went a long way, and I think actually one of them cleared the flats.
Once again worked away from Pope, this time out to Zach Crawley, his England teammate there, deep mid-wicket. Just kind of consolidating here, Surrey going through the motions, just ticking away with these singles. Run rate of 9.35, they don't really have to do much more at this point.
You think of the depth to come, it's quite scary.
I'd rather
actually.
not, to be honest.
I mean, I was here a few years back when they got 220 batting first, Surrey. And then fortunately it rained, but I can't see that happening tonight.
No, the clouds have parted here. I think we're going to be all right this evening.
It does look a very good wicket. It's coming on nicely, good pace in it. I saw the England Lions game this week. The scores were huge, so really the groundsman's doing a great job when it comes to the batting.
Especially this week with the inclement weather around, he's done well to do such a good wicket. I think it's only going to get better throughout the evening.
And I think that dictated Kent's decision to bowl first. I think they think it's pretty flat. They might have been a bit cagey early and just have a bit wary, thinking it might do something. But they came out all guns blazing, and it's proved that it's pretty flat. So Kent will have the same approach, I'm sure, when they bat later on.
Yeah, and a strong batting lineup for Kent, with Leaning coming in, obviously for the injured Benjamin, sadly. But we do bat all the way down, even last night, with Gilchrist at 11 coming in and slapping his last ball away for 6. So Kent will fancy their chances. Just, yes, we do need to keep Surrey down to a manageable total. Parkinson coming on for a second over. That was a better over that from Clarkson.
It was. He bowled a back of a length there and kept it quite straight. So there was only one place they were going to hit it, and that was square of the wicket. So 6 singles, I think, in the over.
And there we go, Kent's first wicket of the evening. Parkinson, lovely bit of drift and bit of flight. Pope trying to hit it over the infield there at cover. And is that Crawley? Has he picked out the biggest man on the pitch?
He did pick out the biggest man on the pitch. Very handy to have him at extra cover.
Absolutely, brings to end a very, very tidy and destructive innings there from the England number 3, 53 or 32. Kent will be happy to see the back of him.
It was actually Wes Agar, which is, who's also a giant.
Yeah, he's pretty tall as well, to be fair. Kent needed that, didn't they?
They did, and very brave, because he tossed one up in the previous over, which Ollie Pope hit square, but that time it just dropped a little bit on him and he wasn't quite there, and just chipped it up to cover. A good catch, because it was, they're the ones that you can easily miss time.
Yeah, and this is what Parkinson gives you in this team. Slower leg spinner, he takes wickets, but it has brought in the big fish for this evening, the man in form, Jason Roy. Good to get him early.
It would be, and actually we know he's got a bit of a weakness against spin first up, so I think it's a good thing that he's come in with Parkinson. Just a bit of confidence here, and hopefully he can get another wicket this over.
Absolutely. Would you be going with the wrong one first up?
I wouldn't know how to bowl it, but I'm sure Parky would, and they've probably discussed it.
Not the wrong one, the gentle leg spinner, and just tapped away for his first delivery there from Roy.
It's a very gentle turn, isn't it? It's definitely gripping on the pitch, which is a good sign.
He bowls at that tempting pace. Roy going to the reverse early on in his innings. Thankfully straight to Bell Drummond there. Out backward square, but no run. Good start this from Parkinson. Build up these dots, build up the pressure.
Well,
Radar touch off there, going for the quicker ball. That looked like mine on Sunday. Good hands
well,
there.
you never know. Jason's, faced three dot balls now, and was probably looking to get down the wicket, so it wasn't a bad call.
Good grip there, good turn, and Roy just taps that one down to long on to get off the mark.
It's been a good set, this. 2 balls going. If we can get away with a couple of dots here or a wicket, the last two overs have gone Kent's way, so built up a bit of pressure.
Absolutely. Coming into Sibley now, who hasn't faced for a little bit. Touch short there from Parkinson and slapped away again to long on there from Sibley. But at this moment in time, I think Kent will be happy with this.
Yeah, finish this over without a boundary. A couple of good overs in a row. I don't know who's going to bowl the next over. A bit of pressure on them because they may come after a bit. Yeah, great over.
Super over that from Parkinson. Roy using his feet to get down to the other end. And that's the end of the first 10 there. And Surrey 87 for 1. Surrey, you imagine, are still the happier of the two sides with 9 wickets left in the shed. But good little bit of fight back in the last 2 overs there from Kent.
Yeah, and as we saw last night in Kenton at Lords, they were going along nicely, and it just takes a couple of wickets. People come out and play shots when they're not quite in. Anything can happen. And so I think to Kent last night were targeting 190, ended up with 170. So the Surrey probably tonight are looking probably 210, 220 at the current rate, finishing the last 10.
I think Kent would ideally like to keep them under that 200 mark if possible. That normally the golden score, but it's going to be Grant Stewart coming on now from the Nacton Road end. Bit of a golden arm in this Kent.
Yeah, I was about to say, every time I've seen Grant bowl, he seems to take wickets, so he has a bit of a golden arm.
Good start that from Stewart.
And now would be the time to get that out again. So
absolutely. Like I say, especially against Roy, who's had such a good start to the blast this year. Because yes, Sam Curran this has been okay, coming in at 4. And Laurie Evans scored a bit of runs in yesterday's game, but not much runs coming from the rest of the Surrey lineup. So get Roy here.
I actually watched Laurie Evans play for Dartford a couple of weeks back in the Kent League. So yeah, I think he was out there. He probably needed some innings in the middle. And there's a few of them that just do these T20 things all around the world, and sometimes they don't get as much cricket as they probably want.
But we know Evans, that is destructive best. Kent will be in some strife.
Yeah, I mean, I watch a bit of the BBL, obviously in the winter, and he's, the Scorchers and the other sides. He's been very consistent for a few years now. He hits a big ball. His worth has gone up over the last couple of years.
Yeah, they love him out there, and I think he was playing for the Renegades this year. Really clean strike on those big boundaries. Good change up there from Stewart. Nerdled away here from Roy, but a really good start this from Grant. Just one off the first 4 deliveries.
Yeah, last 2 and 2.4 overs been extremely good from Kent. They've really tightened up here, and we know in this format, builds pressure, brings wickets.
Also brings pressure on the non-strikers. Sibley's, I think, faced 1 ball in the last 2 overs. Let's see how he plays it now.
Looking very much leg side here, isn't he?
That is Sibley's way, but short leg side boundary. Cut away. Bit of work out there from EAA. Cleans up. They're going for 2. They make it quite comfortably.
He's quick around there, isn't he? He gets around that.
He is.
Quick.
Hopefully Grant can just finish it off here with his last ball, the over. Very tidy set there so far. Once again, keeping it out of Sibley's arc and that leg side. Hit nicely out to Mieye for 1, and so just 4 off it. Surrey a 91 for 1 after 11 overs.
Yeah, excellent last 18 balls here for Kent. 1 wicket. And obviously, I'm not sure how many runs because I haven't got all that in detail in front of me, but probably maximum of 12 runs. Definitely a good squeeze from Kent here.
Yes, Kent will be much happier with the last 3 overs. You imagine it's only a matter of time before Roy sets off, but it's Parkinson to continue after the breakthrough of last over. Sibley on strike. I love the pace that Parkinson bowls at. It's almost going backwards.
It's very, very tempting. The eyes certainly light up. No pace, you've really got to hit it, and you really have to hit it well. So I'm sure that Jason Roy here is looking to wind up. He's got him used up 9 balls now.
Looking for it, wasn't quite there. Not the length for it, and just the one.
Again, very clever bowling. Just held it back.
He does enjoy bowling here, Parkinson. He struggled to touch Gloucestershire in the first game. Didn't play last night. Even when he wasn't donning Kent colours, when he playing for Lancashire, at that end, at the pavilion end, was superb work. A bit quicker that time. Speared in, and Sibley taps it away for 1. Like I say, Sibley is consistently getting these singles, but the boundaries have dried up for him here.
Certainly have, and you think of what they've got left in the dressing room. One of these two have really got to start taking a few more risks.
I imagine Surrey would quite like the left-handed Sam Curran out here with the short leg side boundary with Parkinson bowling. Oh, and there we go. Is this a chance? It is a chance, and it's taken, and it's the dangerous Jason Roy. Parkinson's got his man. Good work out there. I think that may be Tom Rogers. It is Tom Rogers running around to deep cover and taking that one. That's a huge wicket for Kent, that. Parkinson with his second breakthrough in as many overs.
Yeah, excellent bowling. They had to start taking a risk. As I just said previously to that, they've got so much batting left in the hutch, and just poking it around for 1s here and 1s there is not going to get them a good total. So really good pressure there from Kent the last 4 overs, and Matt Parkinson thoroughly deserved that wicket.
Absolutely, and he celebrated it. Good gusto, and he deserved it. Interesting shot that he timed it very nicely. Hardly any effort behind it, but great work here. You can see it on the replay. That drift again. Oh, reaching for it, in fact. Rogers running around. Couldn't quite get it on the replay, but really smart catch from there. And the danger man, Roy, goes. Just for 4 of 10 deliveries. Kent will be very happy with that. But it brings in Sam Curran, the skipper for Surrey.
Yeah, that short leg side boundary now. Matt Parkinson's final 2 balls here. He's got to be careful what line he attacks.
That's him.
So it's extremely short on that leg side tonight.
He's had the ball on the string so far. You imagine a few googlies will be coming now. Do not want to be turning it into the arc with that short leg side. Dragged down a touch there, but Curran just getting into his work, happy to collect 1 for that. Out to Zach Crawley at Cal there. But yeah, but great.
I dare say if he bowls that and another over when he's had a few under that's in the stands.
Yes, I think he's gone away with that off the first ball. Once again, dragged down a touch, and Sibley carving that one out. Yeah. Deep cow there. Another successful over that for Kent. 5 off it and a wicket, and the big one out of Jason Roy. That's Surrey, 12 overs, 96 for 2. Thank you, Martin, joining us there. And being joined again now, Mr. Fulton. Well, how do I say this politely? But once you're off the mic, it's got a touch better there for Kent.
Yeah, huge thanks to Martin McCaig for doing a little stint on commentary. The big fast bowler, former Kent and England man, talking us through a couple of wickets there. Sorry, 96 for 2. And you're right, ever since I've been off the mic, Kent are faring a little bit better. Here's Grant Stewart from the Nackington Road end. Really good over first up. Little reverse scoop, and he's going to be out, is it? That's a great catch. He has gone. He went to his left, and he went to his right, anticipating.
Parkinson there.
I think, yeah, it's Matt Parkinson. He saw the little reverse scoop. He ran to his left. He's saying what happened. He's talking to boys through it. He likes doing that. I was running that way. He was anticipating left, and it went a bit squarer than he thought, and then had to dive to his right. So that is the end of Dom Sibley. One little improvised scoop too many. Decent effort from him, 36 off 29. But Surrey lose their third wicket, and they're in danger here of losing their way, as Kent are really getting themselves back into this, and they have a foothold in the game.
Getting a bit stuck here, sorry. Last few overs, superb work this from Kent. Grant Stewart, brilliant first over, going for just 4. Once again, pace off. A great catch there from Parky.
Yeah, went left, went right, and got his man. So a couple of new batters at the crease, dangerous customers. Sam Curran, the skipper, and Laurie Evans, really destructive batter, who will be playing for Dartford in the Kent League tomorrow against my Whitstable side.
Oh, well,
playing in the Championship.
Let's hope he doesn't get his eye in today then.
Yeah, sliding him a few quid, no doubt, to do battle, but that can wait. That's tomorrow. But Grant Stewart has been excellent. It's been excellent all season, Grant Stewart, and he has 1 for 4 off 1.1. He's into the new batsman, and Evans cuts this away, and he's going to start with a boundary. So a bit short and wide. We've seen that a few too many times from the Spitfires tonight.
And the first one that I've seen Grant bowl pace on. I think we've seen throughout, even at the beginning in the power play, when the Kent bowlers have taken the pace off, and now obviously with Parkinson, as slowly as he's bowling, that's been what's been effective on this wicket so far.
Cameron, you're absolutely right. Hopefully that message is getting home. And I just wonder whether Kent's poor start, and they were poor in the power play, might come back to haunt them, because this looks like a difficult pitch. And Laurie Evans drives that one imperiously, but picks out extra cover, where Denley does the fielding in his favourite position, and there's no run.
Once again, pace off the ball there from Stewart, but timed very nicely there from Laurie Evans. Looking a good nick after scoring a few last night in that rain-affected game up at the Oval.
Yeah, so turned away attractively to deep mid wicket. Zach Crawley scurries in. They won't take on his arm. But yeah, Jason Roy, he struggled, didn't he? A man who's been in great touch, 4 off 10. Just suggesting that timing the ball out there outside of the power play, slightly tricky. So Jack Leaning is warming up. We might see a bit more pace off with his off breaks, perhaps into the attack, because the left-handed Sam Curran is at the crease.
Yeah, Martin mentioned Roy's struggle against spin, especially early on, and Parkinson bowled superbly. Bowled really well to his plans there. Oh.
And he's gone.
Oh.
Well, extraordinary. So Stewart just having a great time of things out there. Real soft dismissal. And Sam Curran rather gifting that one, just picking out Denley at extra cover. And he was going to make no mistake with that. So the skipper goes. That is a big scalp. And Surrey, who I mentioned, haven't got to 150 on the 3 occasions they batted first so far this year. Just after a great start, finding the going a bit tough.
Yeah, the wheels are falling off here of this Surrey innings. With the introduction of Grant Stewart, second wicket in the over, but that was very soft there from the Surrey captain.
Yeah, just have a little look at this as we see a replay, whether it was pace off again. Oh, he's looked to hit the deck. I think what he was trying to do is to punch it down the ground and kind of punch it at mid-off. It really was a kind of forward defensive length. It wasn't a drive length. Trying to force the issue there. Good length, good old-fashioned hit the pitch hard kind of length from Stewart. And Curran getting that, slicing it rather, not where he aimed it.
Well, interesting.
Out Denley.
In a change to the lineup, it's the New Zealand white ball skipper Mitch Santner coming out to bat. An absolute hero of mine, I must say, wearing the spectacles while batting. I've had to don those this year for the first time, so hope he goes well. Not too well.
Too well. No, good player Mitch Santner, and perhaps just trying to keep the left-hand, right-hand combination. Sam Curran's out. In comes another left-hander. They're very aware of that short boundary and Parkinson bowling. Navigates Stewart at the moment. This one is fielded by Daniel Bell-Drummond, no runs. Grant Stewart, excellent. 5 runs off the over, couple of wickets, couple of big scalps as well. as Sibley and Curran depart. 101 for 4.
Run rate down to 7.8 now. I think when I came back on the stint after 8 overs, it was touching nearly 9.5. So Ken have done really well to get this rate down. Parkinson, after his heroics, has come off now, leaning from the pavilion end, most likely due to the fact that the left-hander Santner's come in and that short leg side boundary. And this, as sad as obviously Benjamin's injury was, this is the benefit of having leaning in the side. At Gloucestershire, it was just Parkinson. I know Denley had a couple overs, but getting an off-spinner into the side against the left-hander, I'm sure Billings will be happy to have the option of leading now.
Yeah, they talk about matchups, don't they? Matchups. And off-spin against the left-hander.
Sliced away there from Evans. Bit of work to do out in the deep. That's superb work from that Bell Drummond there.
There's Daniel Bell Drummond, scurrying to his left. He was motoring. Dive and clawed it in.
Brilliant work there from Deves. Super fielder there. And the deep cover boundary, making great ground up there. Stopping that one from crossing the boundary, and now that does bring Santner on strike.
Yeah, it might just take a little while to get going here, Santner. They've just lost a couple of wickets in quick succession, so don't expect him to target that leg side boundary straight away. It is the modern way, isn't it? Just see it, whack it. But he might just need to build a partnership.
Oh, well, he's gone for that first ball, and I believe Leaning's got a hand to it. They're seeing, and they just about get back for 2. That, will we put that down as a chance? Technically, it's a drop.
Yeah, half chance. Jack Leaning, very fine fielder, very good at slip in the championship and good in the outfield in T20. That was crunched back at him. He's just looking at his fingers, checking they're all still there. But yeah, just.
He's probably saved 2, but at my club he's getting fined for that. That's 30p, Mr. Leaning.
Yeah, it's a little harsh. It was well struck. I said Santner might just have a little look, but not a bar of it, just thumped it.
Yeah, a bit quicker. Driven into the surface there from Leaning and just cut away for 1 there from Santner. Yeah, I think a partnership is due here. Evans looks in good touch. I know he's just faced the 4 deliveries, but Surrey, I wouldn't say they've got tons of batting to come. They've got, like I say, those bowling all-rounders and young Sykes that come in. But this partnership, they'll hope will take it deep into this innings. Speared into the pads there from Leaning, and should just be the one they're going for a second. There's Clarkson there.
Oh, he's gone. Oh. Surely. No. I thought it was just direct hit. I just wonder whether Leaning actually knocked the stumps over. Could you get a replay of the throw, please? You might not have time. But,
it was great work from Clarkson.
Yeah, it was a good bit of work. He's got a bullet arm, very class. I've taken the boys for a few fielding sessions, and he probably has the strongest arm in the team, I'd say, judging by the way it was thumping into the mitt. Left-handed. Oh, no, it was Leaning who knocked the bails off.
Once again, slapped away. And Deves was running all round to it. And cutting off the boundary, and that'll be 2 to finish the over. Oh, no, 1. I was eager there. 1 more to come.
More to come. No boundaries as yet, but they've scored off every ball. And
has seemed easier to hit. Leaning's bowling quite a touch quicker than Parkinson was.
10 runs off 5 so far. No boundaries conceded, but you're right. Yeah, pace on the ball, even though he's bowling spin.
Round the wicket this time to Evans. Tops it away for 1. Now finish the over 11 from it.
So 6 overs remaining, 112 for 4. Surrey trying to go past 150 for the first time in this year's blast. Bit of a shout out to Danny and Abby at the Oriole Cafe. They have supplied myself and Cameron with a little chicken massaman, little curry.
I'm looking forward to this. Yes.
Yeah, it's come a little early, so I'm a bit nervous. It might be cold by the time the interval comes. So then I have to run the risk of do I tuck into it during the play and between balls. It's risky, but we might have to give it a go.
Yeah.
The dilemmas.
These are, but I'm very happy that this is the blast treatment. When I've commentated on some of the Kent games this year, I've been lucky to get a meal deal from the Sainsbury's outside, so I've gone up in the world.
Other supermarkets are available, albeit not adjacent to the ground.
That's it, yeah.
Is Grant Stewart back for another over. He's been excellent so far. Pace off, smoked into the leg side. I'd say smoked. He didn't quite get all of that, Laurie Evans, trying to pull shot, Leaning fields. Just the single. I can't get the lid off the curry at the moment. That's the main problem.
Still, even with that slightly expensive leaning over, Surrey only going at 8s at the moment. If they remain at that, they'll get around the 160 mark, and Billings would snap your hand off for that at this point.
You usually think about 180 here.
Yeah.
Is about right, but it just seems a slightly sluggish surface. That is pulled away by Santner. They'll get another couple here. It's a big ground, the Spitfire Ground, St Lawrence. Plenty of twos to be had. I can tell you, Cameron, that this curry's got a bit of kick to it.
Oh no. I may not make the second half of that, right? It was good work down there at fine leg. Was that Parkinson?
Been everywhere, Parky.
It's not easy when it runs away over the practice pitches. Did well to cut it off.
It's like misfield this time. Anybody Drummond. Single. Stewart, excellent. 2 for 13. 2.5. Might have a role to play with the bat as well. Seen a championship 100 from him this year. Strong looking shot by Laurie Evans. Denley is back on the ring in the inner circle. They're never trying to stop one. So one is all they get.
Has been a very effective spell this from Stewart. Been very accurate, hugging that touch, that wide guideline there. Not allowing the batters to access this short leg side. I imagine now Santner, he'll try and tuck him up on his hips. Oh.
Yeah, pace off, strong looking shot, but the single again. You're right about the lines to the right hand, as you see so often. I remember Ravi Bopara scoring 100 here, might have been a couple of seasons ago, and he was batting 1.5 foot outside off stump and batting from the pavilion end to try and flick it over the leg side to that short boundary, often downwind here as well at the Spitfire Ground, as it is tonight. Stewart. Now he could be out here, didn't get hold of that, and he's dropped. That is not Jack Leaney's best bit of work, and that could be a costly miss. Laurie Evans is a dangerous player.
Yeah, the pressure building again there. Another very effective over, no boundary from it. Evans feeling he needed to get a bit of a hurry on. And Leaning, rushing in off the long on boundary. Having to dive forward. But I think he could be a bit disappointed with that one. Would have liked to have taken it. And after his previous harsh drop from off his own bowling, that's 2-2 for Leaning.
Yeah, that was a more straightforward chance. It wasn't easy by any stretch, but professional cricketer Jack Leaning, safe pair of hands ordinarily. You'd expect him to take that. So Evans gets a life. He's not a man you want to give too many of those to.
And to top it off, he's been hooked with Wes Agar coming on from the pavilion end. You imagine with 5 overs to go, probably see seam for the duration here. Strong shot that. And that's all the way for 6 there from Santner. Bit of a slower ball that dug into the wicket. Well weighted from Santner. And beautifully hit straight down the grounds.
It was a really good shot. It was off pace from Agar. You can see the fielder really wide at long on, has to run straight. And that's because of the dimensions of the ground. It is short to Santner's leg side, so they have that long on fielder more at the cafe, so it's like a wide, very wide long on, which means if you can hit straight, there is a big gap back over the bowler's head.
Pace on that one, inside edge onto his pads there from Santner, but Santner's just had a very successful tournament out in the IPL with the Mumbai Indians. He comes, well, he often bats down the order for New Zealand and his franchise sides. However, he's a top player, and that shot showed it. Waited on it and just timed it straight down the ground here.
Yeah, very experienced, isn't he? Contributes captaincy, batting, bowling.
Slow ball again. It's gone up. How far? It looks like Rogers is coming underneath it. And he's taken it look very comfortably. That went a mile in the air. Great slow ball there from Agar. Santner looking to hit down to that long on region once again. Not quite getting the timing, and well caught there. Aussie to Aussie, with Rogers taking the catch very comfortably down at long on. So that's Santner gone for 13 off 9. A little bit of a cameo after that 6, but cannot be very happy to get that wicket.
You're right in what you say, Cameron. It went a mile in the air. He hit it beautifully. He just had, in golfing parlance, the wrong club. Had the kind of 9-iron instead of the 5-iron, and it went high, and it enabled Rogers from that wide long on to run round and take a decent catch. Pretty straightforward. Give Joey Everson a little thumbs up. He's walking around the ground with some mates. As you can see, he got a good piece of it. Done by the lack of pace. Rogers had time because it was in the air so long. And he takes it Australian style with the fingers up. And the Aussie combo had their man.
Safe pair of hands, though, from Rogers. I remember last season him patrolling that boundary, taking a few. And that does bring in young Sykes, left-hander. Pace on, cut away strongly, get off the mark just for one. I know Kent will be very happy to get out the New Zealand skipper. Just as he was looking, getting his eye in. Onus here on Evans, you'd say, to take Surrey through to a score. If they're going to get past, well, that 160 mark, you'd imagine Evans has to remain to the 20th. From a Kent point of view, you get him here quickly. I'd like to try and restrict Surrey to around that 155 mark, perhaps.
Yeah, Surrey were 94 for 1 in the 12th when Jason Roy was dismissed. Rattling along. And they've gone from 94 for 1 to 128 for 5. Been fewer boundaries than Surrey would have liked. Laurie Evans has looked in good touch. He's 18 off 11. Ollie Sykes is a really talented young player. Come up against him a few times from a coaching perspective.
Clean a bit of fielding there from Leaning. Well struck, slow ball, and hit to him at mid-off. Got to finish the over. Another successful one for Kent, 8 off, but the big wicket of Mitch Santner and Surrey, 128 for 5. The first 7 or 8 overs from the Kent bowlers were pretty poor, to tell the truth, but they have brought this back pretty spectacularly and have figured out this pitch in remarkable fashion. Looks like the left arm of Clarkson will be coming on to replace Stewart from the Nacton Road end here. He kind of started it off, actually, with an over of all singles, digging it in, off-pace deliveries. And now, well, take that back. Tom Rogers.
Yeah, it's Tom Rogers. Yeah, just looking at the bowling figures, Grant Stewart 2 for 17 off 3. Jack Leaning's 1 over went for 11. Denley's 1 over went for 13. Other spinners have been good.
Quality shot, Pat.
Yeah, that is high class indeed from Laurie Evans. Just a fraction of width and in the slot. And so often you see batters hoik it to the leg side. They get a bit obsessed with that short boundary, but Evans just freed the arms, went with the line of the ball and drilled it towards the Les Ames scoreboard. Probably the best shot of the match so far.
Yes, effortlessly timed over cover there for one bounce ball.
Gone again, same direction.
6.
And this has gone all the way, so Rogers back into the attack from the Nackington Road end, greeted with a 4 and then a 6. As Laurie Evans threatens to cut loose.
You understand the tactic here from Rogers, going wide, digging it in. Afraid of this short leg side, but a man of Evans's class is still able to clear the ropes. That was some shot, actually.
It's a great shot. That's the problem if you bowl too much width, trying to stay away from that boundary. He's in now. This one is fuller, wider, and he's going to have to bowl it again, 1 to the total. Umpire's arms outstretched. Yeah, so I think as a batter, you know that they're going to try and stay off the stumps because it's just a flick with the wind to that leg side boundary. But what that does enable you to do is to target the offside gaps. And Evans has got such power that actually, yes, it's a longer boundary, but he can still find it.
And as you know, the likelihood of the ball being straight to you is not very high. You can set yourself to expecting that delivery outside off stump.
Short, and he's gone again. And he is going to get, is he? Oh, it's a brilliant bit of work. That is high class indeed. Fred Klassen caught it, popped it back. You just wonder whether Jack Leaning at long on might have been able to get a bit closer to him. We see it so often, very reminiscent of the Jordan Cox at Edgbaston in the final when he popped the ball back to Matt Milnes. We see it here, thumped over long off. Evans thinks he's got 6, but Klassen up, popped it back, and Leaning in true, probably 40 yards away from him, but when that ball's in the air, you can get close to him. Sometimes he can flick it back and you can get your man. A couple.
Oh.
This one could be out.
No,
He's got all of it. Yeah, that is belligerent from Evans. Full bunger from Tom Rogers, going for the Yorker, missed his mark. Evans is a strong man and he gets another maximum.
It's tough to hit those low full tosses. I know he made it look easy there, but that's some power to hit it right down towards us here, almost into the com box. Leaning looked interesting for a moment, but went sailing over his head. This is the over that Surrey needed. Still 2 balls to go.
And he's uppercut this one. And he stands still and watches it. That'll spin away on the practice wickets. And another
way.
Gone all the way. Extraordinary. Yeah, I thought that was going to run away for 4. I think were they signalling 4? The umpire definitely signalled 6. They're just querying that, the fielders, but I think it did go all the way.
Potentially have to question either the bowling plan or the field there. Both fielders just behind point or up there. Bit short. Quite an easy up and over shot there from Evans. Played very well to hit it all the way for 6, but not the length with that field.
It's not what the field's set for, but sometimes as a bowler you have to gamble, because if you bowl just what's the field's set for, you're predictable. This one is smoked away on the offside as well. He hits it so hard, Laurie Evans. That is 4 more. It's a really expensive over from Tom Rogers.
And with that over, Surrey get past 150 for the first time this season.
Yeah, 29 off it.
Wow. Not what you expect from Tom Rogers either, what we've seen from him during his time here at Kent. Evans really took a liking from him. His Renegades teammate as well from last year. So he would have faced him a few times in the nets down under. Perhaps that gave him the inside track, but yes, an over Rogers would like to have back.
Yeah, and there's a lot of my Whitstable team watching this as well. He'll be playing for Dartford at Hesketh Park against Whitstable tomorrow, Laurie Evans. Hopefully he's got all his runs today, and he might miss out. That's the hope from a Whitstable perspective, but Ken will want to see the back of him quickly here as well. As Ollie Sykes has had a bit of a watching vigil, is now fronting up to Wes Agar.
Ball outside off stump. Well bowled that. Only the one there. And dug out to the backward point, I believe, there. And Klassen waiting on it. Just the one, but it gets back on strike, the inform Evans. 46 of just 17 deliveries. Will Wes Agar have better luck than his Aussie counterpart? A bigger leg side, so he can dig it into the body here. He does. Pulled away. Pulled strongly. Yeah, gets around. Just be the 2.
It's another high-class shot from Evans. It's so tempting when bowlers banging into the pitch to try and clear the ropes, but where he's been really intelligent is he's recognised that it is a big hit and it is into the wind. So rather than try and go up and pick out those 2 men, he's kind of swatted it, knocked it on its head, get 2. He absolutely creams it, he'll get 4. He's not risking the catch.
Full on the pads, just the one there. Timed nicely again to Klassen. But better this from Wes, who's finishing off his spell. does bring up the 160 now for Surrey, which before the previous over looked a bit of a distance away.
Yeah, I was thinking 160, 165 might be what they're thinking, but that over of 29, and suddenly 185 is a possibility, 190 even.
Well struck this from, yeah, Sykes is, and it has gone away. He had leaning up at mid-off, and it's drilled past him. I don't think it was timed particularly well.
No, he didn't get all of it, but that mid-on fielder, that long-on fieldsman is really wide, and he beat mid-off.
Don't often see that at this stage of the innings. A fielder up in the circle.
Yeah, well, you've got a choice to make. You can't have them everywhere, and you've got to have 4 fielders in that inner circle. So they've got Parkinson up inside the ring for that little big side flick.
That's hit nice. Cleaning that from Sykes, although actually not going to go. Plugged up in the outfield. They're looking for 3. No, sensibly not taken up to BAA's arm. But Sykes looking to be getting his iron as well now. Last couple of shots.
Well, this one's a bit of a free hit from Ollie Sykes. 2.1 overs remaining. You want Evans on strike, given what happened in that last over. So, an odd number is not a disaster for Kent here, but he'll probably be swinging pretty hard at this, I would imagine. Trying to clear the ropes, and if you miss it, you got Evans on strike, whatever happens.
Very well bowled. They've gone for the quick single. Oh, leaning declines the shy at the stumps.
Yeah, sensible from leaning. I give overthrows away, and Sykes on strike instead of Evans is not a terrible result. That
and still
what they wanted.
A pretty effective over that from Agar with the short leg side at this stage of the innings. Not too bad, and you would assume even with the tough over last, you'd have Rogers to finish off.
So good to see the locals in enjoying themselves. It's not a particularly warm evening here at the Spitfire Ground, but there are a good number in. They've continued to come in as well. The earlier rain relents.
Yes, the Frank Woolley stand is
looking a number, and that's the bank outside the Cowdrey stand that we're looking at now. Your beers being consumed. St Lawrence Ground looking a picture. So Rogers is into Sykes. This is a top edge. It's going to take some catching, and that might go all the way. Just waiting for the umpire to signal. It has 6. Pace on. Sykes top edged it, and it actually worked out pretty well for him.
That's tough for Rogers there after the previous over. Beating the batsman, good bit of skill, top edge, and it just creeps over for 6 down there. It's a fine leg.
Yeah, you can see what he's trying. He's trying to bowl nice and straight and hit the pitch. If he'd have middled it, he probably would have got a single, but the top edge went finer and higher. Cleared the rope. It was nicely bowled. Slower ball, and we'll get a leg by somewhere off the rib cage. Sykes with that exaggerated back lift, almost like a baseball player waiting to hit a home run. He'll take the leg by, brings Evans on to strike. He's 1 shy of 50.
You say you've seen Sykes before?
Yeah, playing for Tunbridge School. Yeah, plays at Tunbridge School, and we had a Canterbury Academy game against them. A couple of T20 knockout match and a pre-season game as well. I think he got 100 in the pre-season game. Looked a high-class player, and here he is playing for Surrey. One's chipped into the offside. It's a bit of work, a good bit of teamwork, in fact. Miae with the throw to see who did the initial bit of fielding.
And that brings up Laurie Evans's 43rd career T20 50, I believe, just off the 20 balls. He's really been the one to get the momentum going in Surrey's innings and get this score up to quite what seems to be quite a testing one for this Kent lineup. Played superbly, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, 3 4s, 3 6s. Vastly experienced T20 player. Played all over the world. And he's hit that over extra cover. That's a fine shot. And when he hits it, it stays hit. That is a good bit of work. Not for the first time today by Fred Klassen, who, by my reckoning, has been the pick of the Kent fielders. That brilliant effort in Tom Rogers' last over, where he called it over the rope and flicked it back. Saved 4 on that occasion and saved another couple there. And that's what the fielders will do. Sometimes there'll be a coach. One of our old coaches used to just mark off how many runs you'd saved. You know, sometimes you'd start your innings in a run chase, you might be 10 up. Sometimes you'd be a few down.
I think Fred Clarkson today certainly up. Great work from the big man out there, actually.
There's missed times. We'll be thinking about 2 here, but I don't think they're going to get it. They're going to take on Jack Leaning's arm to get Evans back on strike, and Sykes goes. That was a bit of a sacrificial second run to get Laurie Evans back on strike, and it's done exactly that. Leaning did what he had to do, and that run out means that Surrey take just the single from that delivery. Who knows how crucial that might be in a couple of hours' time, but Sykes has played pretty well, 15 off 8, and it was important that they got Evans back on strike.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was the last left-hander in Surrey's lineup going into the last over, which would have been the short leg side to the left-handed. So that was, even though, yes, of course, trying to get Evans back on strike, perhaps a bit of a miss for Surrey going into that last over. But good work from Leaning. He's had a bit of a tricky last few overs in the field, so good to have done that succinctly. But it brings in CJ, Chris Jordan. We know he can be destructive as well.
Yeah, these power hitters keep on coming, but it's a good point you make about the right-handedness. I said, that said, where Kent have stayed away from that short boundary, Surrey have been equal to it in terms of hitting over the other side. This one is a wide. Evans happy to let that one pass by.
With the field set as it is, I'm pretty sure Skipper Billings won't be too upset with that. Now with the deep third, you've got deep cover point. Just does not want to get straight here to Evans.
Yeah, you can see those fielders out to the right of screen. It's nicely bowled, but Sam Billings has his men in the right spot. And it's just a single. From a Surrey's perspective, it means that Laurie Evans will keep the strike. 179, 180 for 6.
And it looks like it will be Grant Stewart to bowl the last over here for Kent. His first 3 overs went superbly well. Bowling from now the opposite end. The same idea, keep it away from that short boundary.
So as you mentioned, Cameron, excellent figures so far from Grant Stewart. 3 overs, 2 for 17, probably been the pick with the ball. But he has a change of ends, which can be tricky here at Canterbury with the slope. He's now running up the slope with the sloping away to the offside. Slower ball, off pace, slapped into the leg side by Evans. Good bit of bowling again from Stewart, just a single. And to bring Chris Jordan on strike for his first ball.
Throughout his spell, Stewart has seemed to have got the measure of this wicket. These slower balls dug in. It's been very effective for him so far. He knows exactly Surrey's plan here. BAA at Cow, I think, is going to be in business.
Yeah, the plan is not too sophisticated in the last over with a few wickets in hand. It's try and hit it as far as you can. But you're right, the change-ups from Grant Stewart have been more effective than from any other bowler.
Gone again. Slice this time from Jordan. Simple catch for Rogers once again out in the deep. Superb bit of bowling. The slow ball works again for Grant Stewart. And that's Chris Jordan gone without troubling the scorers.
Yeah, brilliant from Stewart. Pace off, pace off. I think if I'm a Surrey batter, I'm almost setting myself for that slower delivery and reacting if one comes down a bit quicker, because he has been deceiving most of them tonight. With that, I'm not sure if it's a cutter or if it's out the back of the hand, but it's mighty effective, and that combination.
I think
Stewart and Rogers works again, yeah.
Well, Grant Stewart's becoming such. Oh, see on. Yes, out the back of the hand. A real swipe that. One of the hands coming off the bat from Chris Jordan and safely pounced from Rogers. But yeah, Stewart's becoming such an integral member of this Kent side in all formats.
Yeah, and that is the hardest of all the slower balls to pick, that back of the hand. I think probably followed by the knuckleball. Ian Harvey was the best protagonist in my day of that particular delivery. It just means the arm comes over same speed as it normally would, but the ball comes out so much slower.
Well, Jordan Clark in for his first delivery. Hit out. Oh, he wants to take the second run there. And it could be a run out. No, I don't believe so. I think Evans would have been mightily frustrated there. I don't think he particularly wanted that second run, wanted the strike. Clark, who's in for Tom Curran today, and he gets off the mark with 2 runs.
Yeah, he can strike a good ball, Jordan Clark, but you're right. I think Laurie Evans wanted the strike, but Stewart, yeah, just a bit over eager to take the bails off, missed the ball, and that wouldn't have counted.
Back of the hand again. Swiped out.
Evans wants one.
Yes,
he is walking. Jordan Clark sprinting 2, and Laurie Evans walked. He was like, I am not coming back for a second this time. He has 2 balls remaining. He's played quite beautifully for 56, and he'll be eyeing up the boundaries once again. He has 3 4s and 3 6s, striking at 233. It has been some knock just when his team needed it. They were running out of a bit of steam. And he's got hold of that one. That is going to be 6 more. What a shot that is from Laurie Evans. He said about setting himself for that off pace, and he did exactly that.
Well, this one, a touch off line from Stewart. Had a lot of time to set himself. Laurie Evans, who's been hitting them nicely all day, and he's deposited that one into the crowd. That brings up the 190 now for Surrey. They'll be looking for one more big hit. Finish off their innings. Well bowled that from Stewart. Just the one.
Yeah, nicely done from Grant Stewart. He's been excellent with the ball. It's just that 1-6, rather not ruining the figures by any stretch, but just frustrating. But 3 4 27 from the big Italian Aussie.
Italian stallion,
yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
But he's been excellent. And Kent rather clawed that back. It was a decent power play. They were 83 without loss when Ollie Pope succumbed eventually to Matt Parkinson, picked out Joe Denley at extra cover, and then the innings rather hit the skids. Jason Roy never got going. 4 off 10 for him. Dom Sibley 36 off 29 is the anchor at the top of the innings. A little pat for Grant Stewart from his captain Sam Billings. He knows what a hand he's played. And then the middle order rather faltered when Roy with that 4. Sam Curran, the skipper, he just picked out Joe Denley off Stewart for 1. Mitch Santner 13, Ollie Sykes 15, decent contributions, are better than run a ball. It was really all about Laurie Evans in the middle. 3 4s and 4 6s, unbeaten on 62. It's propelled the visitors to 192 for 7. That is by some distance their best total in the Blast this year. They've played 3, won just the 1. Kent, who have played just the 2 games with a win and are rained off last night, will need 193 to win. When we come back, we will leave you on with a nice wide of the ground as the players come out to get loose. We'll see you in about 10 minutes or so for the run chase. The Spitfires will need 193 to win. So here we go, run chase time for the Spitfires, 193 they require. Umpires James Treadwell, formerly of this parish of course, and Neil Bainton out in the middle. Decent effort that from Surrey. In fact, 193 for 7, so the total is 194, the required total. Laurie Evans, brilliant 62 off just 26 balls, 3 4s and 4 6s, a 52 for Ollie Pope, England's vice captain in Test cricket at the top of the order, showing how adept he is at the white ball game. But a couple of men out there in the middle for Kent who are in decent touch. Daniel Bell-Drummond and Tawanda Mayeye. Excellent at Bristol, the defending champions. Gloucestershire, of course, in the first game. Kent posting 208 for 3. Daniel Bell-Drummond 60 off 38. Tawanda 42 off 30. Got Kent off to a rip-roaring start. And that was backed up by Zach Crawley and Joe Denley. So Spitfires are in decent nick with the bat, and they're going to have to play well here. Sam Curran from the Nackington Road end, just a little hint of swing. Mayeye drives up to mid-off, and the Spitfires are underway. So the captain taking responsibility here. Sam Curran didn't do much with the bat, but he is such a versatile and talented cricketer.
Stylish start that for Mayeye.
Yeah, he's a good-looking player to Tawanda Mayeye. Really quick on the pull shot. If you over-pitch, he can drive you through the covers with the best of them. But Sam Curran, 3 for 18, as Surrey defended 149 against Glamorgan, their only win of the campaign so far. He's into Bell-Drummond, who nudges this into the offside and screams no. Bit of a misfield, but can't take advantage. And when you were talking earlier about Zach Crawley at 3, which is probably a bit too early in the campaign to call it a master stroke, and he's only here for this game and Sundays before he joins up with the England Test squad. But it's a move that's worked so far as Curran bowls short to Bell-Drummond. Swats this away, but it's well placed on the boundary. He's a deep square fielder, it's just a single.
Almost timed too nicely there. Getting a bit too squeaky close there to the fielder. But Bell-Drummond square of the wicket, both leg side, and I just always envisaged him, that slash he does. Through backward point, gets off the mark.
So a little bit of swing once again. It's nicely timed by Mayeye. Didn't try and hit it too hard, just turned his wrists on it, found the gap, gets a single. Sometimes you try and belt those down the ground, it swings and you miss it and you're in trouble. But they did it watchfully.
In the first few games, this pair have looked to just ease into their work, not normally looking to bash it straight from the off. Looking for a steady start.
Slower ball, and Bell-Drummond wants the single, and they're going to have to hurry. That would have been tight, I think. But, in your soft hands, dropped it, but Tawanda Mayeye a little bit slow to respond. Just a bit of a conflab there about what happened. A little nod and a, yeah, sorry, I'll respond a bit quicker. Glove punch. Important facet of the game and sometimes overlooked in T20 cricket, the understanding.
Well, Surrey's opening pair, Sibley and Pope, demonstrated how effective it can be taking those quick singles.
Yeah, here's Curran, and a nice attractive looking drive from Tawanda Mayeye. Cover point is back, and they thought about a second, but decide against. So good first over from Surrey. 5 singles and a dot off it. Sam Curran starts well.
Would imagine it's Mr. Dan Worrell will be coming on from the pavilion end. Is he's still classed as an overseas, right?
You know what? I'm not sure. He might be. Well, I think there was talk, wasn't it? He could qualify for England to play in the Ashes, which would be a bit of an about turn from Dan Worrell. Sounds as Aussie as they come, but he's been over in county cricket for quite a long time now. Played at Gloucestershire before Surrey, and I think if you stay here for long enough, you qualify. Certainly he does. But I'm not sure. I don't want to hazard a guess, but I know there was some talk about him being eligible for England if he stayed around long enough for the Ashes. That would be some call.
Highly skillful bowler nonetheless. Taking, guided away, good pick up there. Diving away at gully there from Mitch Santner, just the one. Yeah, highly skilled bowler. Normally lovely movement away. And again, has been plying his trade around the world. The SA20, obviously plays in the 100 for just the London Spirit, I believe. So, yeah.
Interesting field here. We've got a slip, a kind of Laurie Evans on the ring as a short third man. Yeah, we've got a slip, you've got a short third man, you've got a backward point and a deep square cover on the offside. No third man.
Nice looking shot, running on the shot, and he's gone. Direct hit. Disappointing that from Bell Drummond. He ran on the shot, well picked up there. I'm trying to just gauge who that is at mid-off. He's thrown the stumps down. And that Kent lose their first one early.
It's a brilliant bit of work, and some things, sometimes on these kind of things, games can turn. We saw an early opportunity in the Surrey innings. Joe Denley had a shy from extra cover. He was a bit closer, and he bounced it a bit short, went over the top of the stumps. But on that occasion, brilliant bit of work. Daniel Bell-Drummond hit it nicely, and I think you're right, almost ran on the shot. Sometimes you see it in junior cricket. As you see Worrell here, hit it well, took on the fielder.
Skipper Sam Curran.
Sam Curran with a brilliant bit of work, plucked out middle stump. We always say when you're shy at the stumps, aim for the base. He did exactly that. And Bell-Drummond has to go.
Strong shot that from the AA. Having to forget that last one. It brings Crawley obviously out. We were just chatting earlier about him batting at 3 now. Well, almost acting as an opener now, but he'll be here. Losing Bell-Drummond, who is such a stable force at the top of the order for Kent. Again, pressure on here to Crawley. Hopefully he shows some of the form he was in last night.
Yeah, he's played well. A couple of matches since that 100 against Zimbabwe, which is no substitute for time in the middle. That would have done him some good. And a quick fire 37 at Bristol and a half century at Lord's last night.
Crunching drive that from Crawley. And away for the first boundary of Kent's innings. That's a lovely shot. First ball, Crawley using that huge reach of his and driving it nicely through the covers.
I think he'll enjoy the pace on here, Dan Worrell. He's not expressed by any means, but he comes onto the bat, he looks to swing it out. Zach Crawley would have faced far quicker bowlers than Dan Worrell. There was nothing here to phase him, as skillful as he is, Worrell. The offside reinforced now.
Aimed into the pads, just the one this time. Not wanting to take on the arm. Bringing the AA back on strike. But no, timed beautifully that 4. They had cover out there. Square cover, but no chance there. Crawley hitting a beautiful drive. That's what you kind of expect from Crawley, especially when you see him on the big stage for England. You imagine those drives. Obviously the most infamous one against Cummins' first ball of the Ashes. Looking high, that looks high. Appeal there from Worrell, but yeah, go over.
Yeah, that drive's right. It's what sprung to mind actually when he did nail that one through the covers, that first ball of the Ashes series. A little bit of width, a little bit on the up. This format, he's going to need no second invitation. Just used, as you say, that long reach, those long levers, just to crunch it through the offside. He hits it hard.
It's a trait that I think our top 3 all share. They play strong but correct shots. With the field up, they do benefit from that. Crawley there, hitting that lovely shot through the covers, but I think the same from the AA, and obviously when Bell-Drummond's normally out there. They don't normally overhit the ball.
So Nathan Smith, New Zealander, overseas player, into the attack. Bustling right arm over. He's in and is short at Crawley. He's into the body. They'll jog a leg by. But, just a little bit of nip back in to the right-hander. It's like a little bit of nippy pace, Nathan Smith. Just clipped uppishly. This is going to be the single. I'm just looking at Nathan Smith. 2 test matches, 10 one-day internationals. Pretty early in his international career, just 26 years of age.
He had a stint in county cricket last year, if I'm correct. Was Worcestershire?
So in here, inside half of the bat, and Crawley, 2 men back, both on the leg side, so expect Smith to bowl pretty straight to these 2 right-handers.
I find it an interesting tactic that during the power play, the bowling team tend to bowl straight, even with that short leg side boundary, with the 2 boundary riders out there, not wanting to give any width. But that will surely change when the field goes out. They'll start bowling away from that short side.
That's a good hit. That is a good hit from Tawanda Miyeye. He almost just set himself for that back of a length. He's so strong on the pull shot. That was kind of half pull, half hoik, but he got hold of it. So strong in that area, and that is Kent's first maximum. And after the early loss of Daniel Bell-Drummond with that run out, yeah, that is a hell of a pull shot. It was a pull shot, almost pulled off length.
Picks up length so quickly. It's become a bit of a trademark of him. Yeah, and that short leg side boundary needed no invitation there to put it into the crowd.
Into the crowd, into the flats. It's gone over the fence. Someone asking for the ball back. Remember this in COVID times, Cameron. There was no one in the ground, but people were watching, and then the ball get thrown back, and then it had to be wiped clean. And every time the ball went for 6, it just took an age.
Well, during COVID times, I actually lived just across the road from the Sainsbury's doing my masters here, and I was heartbroken because I had a membership to watch the season, and of course couldn't get in. Other than my flatmate, the person I saw most during the pandemic, I think, was Grant Stewart in Sainsbury's.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you're far too young to get in those flats. I think you've got to be 60. I'm fast approaching.
It's coming.
Not that I could afford one, but it's not a bad vantage point. And they often, as you can see, they're out on the balcony watching the cricket. No ticket required. We got the ball back. Good shot from Miyeye, just what Kent needed.
Yeah, so quick to pounce on that. It wasn't overly short. It wasn't quite even rocked back. It was almost half on the front foot and slapped away. He's a real talent.
Yeah, an interesting thing will be, where does Smith go now? Because quite disconcerting as a bowler when a good length ball disappears over square leg for 6. This one is punched through the offside, and he's going to get 4 here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really nice strike. Jordan can't catch it, so 6 and a 4. And Tawanda Miyeye just starting to motor.
Gorgeous shot that from Miyeye, and you know he's timed it well if Jordan can't catch up with it. A back foot drive there through the covers. Top shot.
I think Ken will be conscious here that they need to get a good start in this power play. It looked like it got harder to bat through the middle. There's a bit of a smear, and he'll get 1.
A bit of a slow ball there from Smith. But good over that from Kent. 13 off it.
You know, I think if Surrey had been watching Kent, Grant Stewart, Kent's most effective bowler, took a lot of pace off. Good exponent of the slower ball, Grant Stewart. And paid good dividends for him, and Surrey would have learned, you'd think, something from that style of bowling.
You'd imagine the likes of Sam Curran, John Clark, the bowlers will be utilising that slower ball. Worrell coming for his second. An appeal. Not given from the umpire. Pope seemed interested there. Not too much from the other fielders. Interesting to see what kind of happened there. There was a bit of movement off the deck.
I think, yeah, just must have flipped pad on the way through. We've got the spin of Mitch Santner as well. Not too many other options. Worrell, Smith, Clark, Jordan, Santner.
Of course, Jordan as well, yeah.
Yeah, and a bit of Curran, of course. So plenty of options, but only one spinner.
Short of length, dabbed into the leg side there from EAA. I think it'll be hard for Kent to match Surrey's opening 6 overs. Pope got them off to a real hefty start, and a bit of a helping hand from our bowlers at touch.
Yeah, although you'd say Mayeye, Beldrummond more destructive than Pope and Sibley as a rule.
Stepped out to the same area from Zach. Considering 2, but never on. Absolutely, but especially Pope, he didn't really need to go after it too much. It was, like I say, handed to him on a platter. So you imagine perhaps the bowling will be a bit tighter from Surrey here. But a good start, just that 1 wicket. Again, pulled away off the front foot this time, drilled out. Won't reach the boundary, just the 2 runs from the AA. But yeah, very, very quick onto that pull shot. Bench punt. Again, punched nicely off the back foot there from EAA. Just the 1 this time. Off to a handy little start here, 21 of 14. Tidy over that from Worrell. That's the 6 coming from it. So that's Kent 32 for 1 off the first 4. Do you think they'd have a target in mind coming out to begin with, what they'd like after this power play? And if so, what would it have been?
Yeah, I think you're looking to go somewhere between 8 and 10s, aren't you, at the start? But you really, you're chasing 190 odd. You can't afford to get off to too sluggish a start. That said, the way they strike it these days, you know, nothing's out of reach really. If the middle order get going, and you have to play what's in front of you, and if the guys bowl well, then you adapt. Chris Jordan going to have his first hit out with the ball. Likes to spear in that Yorker. Looked like he tried exactly that then, and the full toss is not timed. Runs out to deep mid-wicket for the single. I do think Surrey will be hoping a bit of damage limitation in this power play. They can have a couple of relatively quiet overs. They'll be the happier of the 2 sides, I think.
It does speak to Surrey's depth. We're at this Nacton Road, and there's been 1 over apiece for Sam Curran, Nathan Smith, and then Chris Jordan.
And that is that famous Chris Jordan Yorker. So a good bit of bowling from him. He knows that there's not a lot of future in hitting the pitch hard at Tawanda Mieye. It's not that kind of surface. Just rock back and pull you for 6. So expect him to go full, target the stumps. Maybe the odd slower ball. We're wide. A bit of work into the floor, wasn't a chance. Another dot for Chris Jordan. It's a busy night in the Blast, as it always is on a Friday night. Just running through some scores from around the grounds in the North Group. Yorkshire 164 for 7. Innings break at the moment. The Bears, who traditionally top the North Group and then bow out at the quarter-final stage. They've had a bit of a sluggish start this time round. But again, very full and straight from Jordan. This one punched to mid-on for the single. In the South Group, in Cardiff, Essex 183 for 8, and Glamorgan have started well in reply, 51 without loss. Gloucestershire, defending champions, already lost to Kent, of course. They have been bowled out inside the 20 for 119. They are a bit depleted with injuries. That's not what they would have hoped for. Oh, it was really nicely bowled. I think it's going to be sliding down the leg side. Stifled appeal from bowler and keeper, but excellent work from Chris Jordan.
It's been a super over so far.
I mean, we get funky, don't we, with slower balls and hitting the pitch and different lines, but actually if you get a rip-roaring Yorker pretty straight,
not a lot you can do
and you hit the length, it's almost impossible to hit for a 4. You might squirt it past your leg stump on occasion, but there's not much you can do with it. Obviously if you miss the Yorker, then it can be very hittable, but Jordan doesn't miss too often. He has on this occasion, and he just put it in the slot and Crawley equal to it. Didn't get all of it, got enough of it to go for 4, so good end to the over for Kent. Still a pretty decent one from Chris Jordan, 7 off it.
Much needed boundary there to finish the over. But yeah, no, you're right about the Yorker. It's interesting how you don't normally see that come out this early as consistently as Jordan went to it in the power play, but why not? When you can do it as well as he can. Looks like will be a change. Will it be a change or will it be Worrell finishing it? I think it might be Worrell finishing the power play.
Yeah, I think Worrell's that kind of bowler. They get his overs out the way, don't they? He's skillful exponent of seam and swing with the newish ball. He's a kind of old-fashioned red ball bowler in a lot of senses. So the threat is early, as this one is punched into the offside. Sorry, Cameron, you're over. I'll let you carry on.
Again, testing out Curran there at mid-off. Didn't hit it as well as Bell Drummond, perhaps making the single a lot easier. 40 up for the Kent Spitfires. Ideally, they'd like this over to go some momentum coming out of the power play. Lovely shot from Crawley. That one will race away for 4. Nicely timed clip through straightish mid-wicket. 4 runs, lovely.
It was off pace, but again it was in the slot, so the last 2 Zach Crawley 4s have been just missing their mark from Surrey perspective. The run rate still a healthy 8.25.
Dug in this time, and no run. Zach's looking pretty handy, taking that form from last night. And in this new role at number 3. Dug in once again. Can't find the gap, Crawley. 2 dots on the bounce. Bit of pressure building here. 2 balls left. The power play to go. Driven nicely. Stopped with the knee, I believe. Jason Roy there at cover. And Crawley will scamper through for a single, leaving me the last ball of the power play.
Yeah, another decent over for Surrey here. This was Chris Jordan's, but the last ball went for 4, which rather ruined Jordan's over. Kent will be trying to do something similar here with Mieye on strike.
Not the best of timing there, dug in from Worrell, just the one. Oh, and he's signalling for a new bat. And that will end Kent's power play, 46 for 1. Probably Surrey the happier of the 2 sides coming out of that power play. Dan Worrell, excellent, 3 over spell there. What did Worrell go for if it's 3 overs?
Yeah, not many. I'll bring you that information in just a sec. But 46 for 1, so Worrell would have gone for 20 from his 3. So decent effort that from the experienced opening bowler. If you're just joining us, it's good to have you with us here on the Kent stream, proudly supported by Cluberly. Cluberly, the first savings app for sports fans. Save, invest, support with Cluberly. And big thanks to them for their support. But 193 for 7, Surrey posted. Half century saw Ollie Pope, and an excellent one, 62 off just 26 balls, unbeaten 62 as well from Laurie Evans, which might ultimately prove to be the difference in this match. Kent might have something to say about that. They're in pursuit of 194. They've lost Daniel Bell-Drummond, run out brilliantly by Tom Curran. Mitch Santner into the attack, the New Zealand white ball captain, and this has been sliced away. And it's just going to get, might get 2, a bit of a missed field. They're going to have to hurry, but he made a bit of a pig's ear of that, did Jordan Clark. It was spinning. Sometimes what happens when you back cut one like that, it does spin a little bit. So I'm making excuses for him, but it can happen, and it seemed to spin away from him. And they get back for 2.
I'll be using that mistake tomorrow, or that excuse at least.
So Santner in again. This has been pulled. And is gone. Has he gone? Yes, he's gone. Here's Sibley with the catch. There are people signalling, fans signalling that he might have just trod on the rope. They not too vociferously. So yeah, I think the fans trying it on a touch. I think Sibley would be honest enough to admit if he trod on the rope. But Mayeye, who we've mentioned before, is strong on that pull stroke.
Oh.
He was close to it. He was right in front of us in the tent. That's us behind him there, but yeah, that is a big wicket and not the best delivery in truth. It was a bit of a drag down. Maillet punches his bat in frustration. He's gone for a well-made 26. Kent lose their second wicket, 48 for 2, and Joe Denley's the new batter.
The third start, Mayey's got himself in and not quite been able to continue after the power play. But it brings in, say, the evergreen Joe Denley. Had a bit of a strange dismissal last night, kind of falling past one from Luke Holman and then keeper spilling it. And Denley taking a bit of too long to get back into his crease. We're hoping for a longer innings tonight, so will the Kent faithful. Good start for Santner with the ball.
Denley just pushes this one to extra cover. Sometimes takes just a few deliveries to have a look and get himself in. Likes to use his feet to the spinners. Oh, and he's hit that hard. He's going to get 4. Mid-wicket is in very close indeed, and he'd been back a bit. He might have been in with a chance there because it was straight at him, but it went through him. So well hit was it.
Really well struck that from Denley early on in his innings.
Let's see who that is. Is that Nathan Smith at mid-wicket? Powered through him. This is drilled. That was into the floor, so not a chance. And Denley sends Crawley back. Untidy in the field from Surrey.
Total run on this field.
That old cliche. Yeah, decent start this from Santner. Is this peculiar kind of lollop to the crease and a unique action. Fielding change, so man comes over to extra cover. All the fielders out on the leg side, bar the 45. So then he sweeps and he hits it in the gap. There's a fine shot. Wasn't quite in the slot for that shot, so he manufactured it somewhat, but starting with a couple of slog swept 4s. Joe Denley in the mood. Take another look at this one here. Got right across, targeting that short boundary, and bisected those 2 fielders out in the deep.
Really good start this from Denley. Good bit of impetus he's put into his innings already. Hopefully that'll seep off to Crawley at the other end. And it will be a change now that we're outside of the power play. Dan Worrell off and Jordan Clark coming on at the pavilion end.
Well, the required rate is 10.6, so you can't afford to pat back too many when you first come in. You need 10, 11 runs and over. Have a look at 1 or 2, and then you're off and running.
Hard length that from Jordan Clark. Just the one there from Crawley. I think Crawley will be taking on that baton again of hopefully going to be batting deep through this innings. It looks like Denley's come out with a bit of a license, a bit of freedom here. As you say, we can't let this run rate too out of hand.
There's still plenty of batting to come, but it's important that we get a partnership.
On the pads tucked away from Denley. For the one. It's great to see Denley back, though. He's had his injury troubles over the last season or two. Obviously, he hasn't featured early in with the championship stuff. Great to have him back. Oh, what a glorious shot that is from Crawley. Picked up the length, driven sweetly. Has that gone over? Has that gone over the Lime Tree Cafe?
Yeah, it's gone into the Lime Tree Cafe, I think.
Who supplied some wonderful curries to us during the midway period. But that was a delightful shot there from Crawley. Beautiful timing, hit on the rise, and it's just...
Yeah, it was great use of the feet, first of all. So he's down the crease, and he just in to out, didn't overhit it, presented a full blade, and yeah, that flew into the Lime Tree Cafe. So down the wicket again on this occasion. It's just going to be a leg by Jordan Clark, just adjusting his line, not allowing Crawley to free his arms. But yeah, beautiful shot from Zach Crawley. He just has those kind of shots in his locker. It's always tough to hit the quicker bowlers over extra cover mid-off. But just hits it on top of the bounce, uses his height. Good swing of the bat. And Clark under pressure.
Slow one down the leg side. Kent Faithful enjoy that. Wide signalled.
It's the second of 3 matches in 4 days for the Spitfires. Middlesex last night, Surrey tonight, and then on Sunday we are back on the stream. They are back at the Spitfire Ground, Hampshire. The opposition.
Well, tucked away into the gap. Could go the way. Lovely bit of time there from Denley. Well, also quite a small gap there. Down onto fine leg past Worrell, and it's raced away for 4. It's a very handy over, this one. 13 from it so far with 1 left to go.
Yeah, we talked about whether Surrey would learn from the way that Grant Stewart bowled, taking the pace off the ball. It's not really Jordan Clark's preferred way of doing things. He likes to thump the ball into the pitch at a healthy lick, but pace on looks easier than pace off.
Right on cue. The slower ball comes out. But just the one. 14 off. Good over.
Slower ball, and it only goes for 1. So I think Grant Stewart's probably bowling 4 or 5 slower balls and over.
Yeah.
And Surrey bowling maybe 1 and over. And it's costing them. So Kent keeping this required rate very much in check. It was 10.6, it's now down to 10.3, and all the while it's around that figure. They'll feel pretty comfortable. They've got that short boundary towards the flat side of the ground. So Sam Curran returns, the skipper, off pace, and that is drilled through extra cover. It might be a couple of runs. So Jordan has to run round from long off. Crawley and Denley quick between the wickets.
It's only a few strides for Crawley.
Yeah, a few strides for Crawley, and Denley very much the senior statesman now. I didn't give him enough years. I said he was 37 or 38. He's actually 39 now, Joe Denley. That is slow, and that is thumped, and this one is straight at Jordan, who's just gone a little bit wider. I was a mentor to Joe Denley when he first got into the Kent Academy. I think he was 15, and I took him under my wing a little bit and played my last first-class match with him. He was the young whippersnapper in the team, and now he's approaching 40, which makes me feel ancient, in truth, Cameron. I'm not going to lie, ancient. You know, 40 years of age. I can remember him as the 14, 15-year-old on our academy as a Curran is in. And there's a slog sweep from Crawley. It was a bit ugly. See what he was targeting. He wants that length.
Is he going to be playing with your son at Whitstable? This is...
Well, he's played with his nephew, hasn't he, Jaden? Another Whitstable man. So, yeah, Joe and Jaden have played together. which the Denleys enjoyed. Jaden has had a little bit of a side strain. He's turn out for us tomorrow against Laurie Evans in a club game. Finding his way back to full fitness. This one is a decent delivery. No, it's wide. Yeah, Crawley couldn't reach it, and if he can't reach it, chances are it's wide.
It's quite clear that Curran and Surrey have gone to that tactic, though, of going away from that leg side boundary to the two right-handers. Probably the sensible ploy. Cluberly, do they have anyone here? Yes, they have a man.
They've got two men. They've got two men back, but they'll still try and stay away from it.
Yeah.
Because you get two straight here, and it will disappear over their heads.
Oh.
Really nicely bowled from Sam Curran. That pace-off delivery, talked about whether they were going to go to that option a lot. He has done in this over, and it's worked well for him. So sometimes you can get a bit fixated with the short boundary, as Zach Crawley's tried those slog sweeps off Curran. Think how Laurie Evans hit those balls over long off, over extra cover. If you know the bowler's going to be wide outside off stump, you don't have to drag it. You can access the offside.
It's already produced the wicket of Mieye to this short leg side as well.
It's another wide.
Especially someone like Crawley, I'd say, is as effective through the offside as he is the leg. So,
well, as we saw in the last over, that six that flew over
absolutely
the boundary to the Lime Tree Cafe, that would have been six on the other side of the ground, even though it's a much bigger hit. You've got that way to shot. You don't have to slog across the line.
Oh, that's crunch. That's beautiful.
And that is Zach Crawley at his very best, using those long levers, hitting down the ground. Always a big gap between long on and long off if you can hit it hard enough, and he did just that. Another boundary, good angle from it here in our replay. Umpire just momentarily in danger, but those men at long on and long off not even in shot.
Is that Treaders there running for cover? Looked it.
It's another wide from Sam Curran, who's arguing that Crawley is outside off stump, but he's not going to get much truck from Treadwell there.
Good from Kent, though. Take all these extras.
So it'll be just the single. No, he wants two. Bentley is lightning quick. Yeah, I say he's 39, but he's still extremely fast. His injury, of course, early in the season was a broken arm that he sustained in the nets, fending one off his nose.
Assume that's why he's got the arm guard on.
Got the arm guard to just protect that that left forearm stroke wrist area. That's where he got the break. I think he's got a plate in it.
Well, to get back so quickly.
Yeah. Got back for a championship game, didn't he? And he was targeting this competition, but got back a little bit earlier. Good to have him back, and good to have him ahead of schedule and keen to play red ball cricket as well. 83 for 2, the Spitfires, in pursuit of 194.
Mitch Santner changing end now to the pavilion end.
Yeah, I thought this would happen. He's got the bigger boundary to the leg side, bowling at two right-handers. Kent predominantly a right-handed team. Have a little look down their lineup.
And now bowling with the slope as well. Mitch Santner, quality performer.
Yeah, so looking for right-handers.
Great pick up there from Mitch Santner. Then they had to hurry, but was in. Again, very, very slow, that delivery. Learning from Parkinson. The slower you bowl it on this surface, especially from the pavilion end, it does seem to grip.
Yeah, just looking at Kent's batting. I think only Tom Rogers is left-handed.
Yes. Oh, play a miss there from Crawley. Good hands from Pope. It was a consideration I was thinking about. He is the only left-hander in our side.
Yeah.
Perhaps, I know he's suffering right now, but opportunity for Jane Denley perhaps later on in the campaign. Potentially pushing for two. No, just the one there.
Well, I know it's something that Kent are looking at. Obviously, Ben Compton probably not his strongest
Well, you
format.
see Sibley out there.
Yeah, true, and Ben Compton is certainly trying to add that kind of power to his game, and there is an argument that says he might be effective in this form of the game.
Into the gap. They will push for 2 this time. It is Jordan. They take it on and get home comfortably.
So yeah, Jaden Denley offers you good fielding, bit of left arm spin, and his left-handedness. So he would be an attractive option. You think of George Linder from a couple of seasons ago. Certainly had that power to hit the boundaries as well as bowl his left-armers.
Well bowled there. Saw Denley using his feet, pitch a touch short to no run, and that finished quite quiet over there, just a 4 from it. Kent 87 for 10, halfway through.
But if you look at the Surrey lineup, obviously you had Sam Curran, left-hander, Mitch Santner, left-hander, Ollie Sykes, left-hander.
Yep.
So yeah, just gives them, particularly when you've got a short boundary one side, it just becomes tricky for Sam Billings to bowl his spinners.
Yeah.
With the leg side boundary being so short for at least one of the batters. Nathan Smith returns, bustly right-hander, and climbing into it is Zach Crawley. They're going to have to hurry.
Oh.
Wow. Neil Bainton, all eyes on him, and he said not out, but I wouldn't mind a second look at it. No review, is there? No Duckworth Lewis. No DRS.
Like the dive saved him.
Yeah, might well have done. He's very quick, Zach Crawley. A lot of
There
we go. We'll have a little look, and we're going to have a perfect viewpoint. This is what Neil Bainton would have had. Stumps.
Oh,
tight. Yeah, tight. Off-pace delivery, and it's a wide.
I know it was a wide, but this has been the story, I think, of the evening. The slower balls into the surface have been the most effective by far.
Yeah, they've just shied away, Surrey, from bowling them straight. I think if you're going to go a slower ball into the surface, I get why they're going wide. I think if you go on pace, you've got to go wide. If you're going to deceive the batter with off pace, you need to go straight, because too many of them have been wided.
Look, I could be wrong and my eyes are dodgy at the best of times, so I'm looking over the Kent dugout. And I think Rogers is one of those with his pads on.
Pads on because of his left-handedness.
I think so, even though we would normally expect him to come in, what, 8, around the 8 mark. Might be being considered here. Yeah, he's definitely a left-hander there. Yeah.
Well, to reach that, Joe Denley is going to get the single. Have a little look at the Kent dugout if we can. You can just see him right in the top left of your screen. Tom Rogers there, just twiddling his bat, speaking to Harry Finch in the orange jacket, stroking his bat there. He's, as Cameron says, usually he's a bowling all-rounder.
Got the helmet on though. Oof.
Good turn around the post by Ollie Pope, saved a couple of runs with an off-pace delivery. So yeah, interesting that Rogers is padded up. One of those that it might be if Mitch Santner's bowling, and you think, okay, we'll send him out. Bit of a license to take on that particular matchup. But you get him in too early, they just take Santner out the attack as Smith is in, and turning into the leg side is Denley. Just going to get the one. They'll think about a second, but loud no from Crawley.
Although you would say out of the Kent lineup, the batter who is most at ease of playing those reverse slaps and taking effect, if it is Mitch Santner bowling, take this short legs offside on for the right-hander, that would be Billings. So it'd be a bit of a surprise if you didn't see the captain come in next, but we shall see.
That's swung away. Yeah, that is Zach Crawley at his best. It was another slower ball. He was almost expecting it that time and just waited for it. Yeah, it's a hell of a shot. to fetch it from wide.
Brings up Kent's 100 into the 11th over.
Yeah, Kent still very much on course here. Run rate required hasn't really changed. It's been around about 10.5, and that's where we find ourselves at the moment, 10.4. And if Kent go into the last over needing 10, 12, they'd probably make themselves favourites with wickets in hand. So they are on course. Chris Jordan returning.
His partnership's been excellent. Like you say, just not letting that run rate get too out of hand. Most overs getting that boundary away. And interesting, after such a successful over from Santner, bringing on Jordan again. Imagine we'll be spearing in those Yorkers. Slower ball, nicely driven. Clean pick up from Curran again. Oh, that was close. Almost had his second run out. This time a lot harder, aiming at the one stump, but looks on it in the field.
Yeah, and it could be the difference between the two sides. That early run out of Daniel Bell-Drummond. Saw a couple of misfields from Kent. We saw a drop catch, didn't we? Jack Leaning should have possibly taken one at long on. Laurie Evans, wasn't it? Got put down.
Was Evans?
Yeah, it was Evans, and he said at the time it could be costly.
I've tried to forget about that. Yeah.
It wasn't an easy chance, but it was one that a fielder of the calibre of Jack Leaning would expect to catch. It's fair to say.
Very good with that Yorker once again. Not a lot of Crawley can do with that. What Jordan's known for as well. Prowess with those Yorkers. You imagine he'll be saved for the final two from one of the ends.
It's just winced a bit there, Chris Jordan. You can just see him holding his back there. He's one of the elder statesmen of the Surrey side. We talk about Joe Denley at 39 years of age. But Chris Jordan is no spring chicken.
Dug into the pitch that time. Considering two. No, not on.
37 in October. Chris Jordan's been a fine servant of England, of course. Surrey, Sussex, and looking at the list of teams he's played for. Too many to read out. Umpteen, yeah, 20-odd franchise sides around the world. He has no doubt made a decent living out of the game. Very popular wherever he goes. Lovely man.
Hold again.
Just leant back on that, Joe Denley. That one was possibly in the slot to go, and you can tell by his body language he feels he just missed out on that. Didn't quite get the Yorker in, Chris Jordan, and if he'd just kept his shape, he could have drilled that back past him, but tried to overhit it, just leant back on it. Experienced enough, Denley, just to put that out the mind and watch the next delivery.
Oh, as you say, out of his mind, and a beautiful square drive picked up on the length there. Absolutely no chance for the cover boundary rider. Raced away for four from Denley, giving himself a bit of room there and slapped away.
Yep, trying to access that short boundary. Knows that Jordan trying to go full and straight, giving himself room to get the bat swing through the ball, and that flew away. Just felt that he needed that, Joe Denley, after a couple of quiet deliveries.
Once again, Kent have got that boundary in the over. Oh, it's superbly bowled.
Yeah, really good from Jordan. The boundary off the penultimate ball, but just 6 off it, and that is exactly what Surrey will want, and that has pushed the required rate up to exactly 11 runs and over.
Obviously, we'll have to wait and see, but that innings from Laurie Evans is looking pretty decisive, but this partnership's going, it's over 50 now.
Yeah, still very much in the balance this game. I think Surrey probably just got their noses in front, but not by much. You know, you've got Zach Crawley going as he is, 43 off 28, and Joe Denley, such a fine white ball player, vastly experienced, the pair of them, particularly Denley. You've got Billings to come, got Leaning to come. Lots of batting still as Santner from the Nackington Road end, and this is pulled, and it might be safe. Yeah, if Jordan's not going for it, then no one's going for it. Just really interesting how you would have thought Santner would have persevered from the pavilion end, but he's just relishing this challenge of bowling to these Kent batters with the shorter leg side boundary. Just take the pace off. It's just a canny operator. As you see there, Denley trying to access that boundary.
I think it's clever this from Stan and Curran, bring him on this end, tempting the right-handers here. He's already got Mieye from this end. Quicker.
Yeah, he's gone across and smeared it to Joe Denley. He's just going to get the single. He's down on one knee, of course. When you play that sweep shot or slog sweep shot, you've got to get up and run and get back. It's Zach Crawley probably would have got back for two, but it's, Denley from almost a seated start was never going to. Oh, well picked up. And Curran at extra cover.
With his weaker hand.
Yeah, just stick the hand out and it went. Stopped any further run, but a couple of good overs here. Chris Jordan excellent and backed up by New Zealand's white ball captain. 3 off 4 so far. This one is down. This could be out. Jordan's underneath it. He doesn't drop anything. No. And that is the end of Joe Denley. Cleverly bowled by Mitch Santner. Denley down the wicket. And just towed it a bit. If he'd have got all of it, he's looking at the toe of his bat as he walks off. He was low on the bat. Well bowled by Mitch Santner as we see a replay of it here. It just came down. Santner went wide, which meant Denley had to drag it. And it was down the throat of Chris Jordan, who gobbles that one up. 109 for 3, the Spitfires. And that is a big wicket. Denley goes.
Jordan has some of the safest pair of hands in the game, has done throughout his career. And it is the left-handed Tom Rogers coming in, being elevated to number 5. Interesting, especially with Santner bowling from this end. It was more understandable with Santner bowling from the pavilion end, but they've gone with this idea. Rogers can hit a big ball. He played an incredible innings to take the Renegades over the line during the Big Bash, and even yesterday I think he got 16 odd, and a bit of a tougher situation here.
Oh no, oh no. So after the big build-up from Cameron, he has just chipped to the first ball to Curran at mid-wicket, and that is high class from Mitch Santner. And Tom Rogers, who did all those warm-ups and was sent in to do belligerent things with Willow in hand, he has to trudge back. He's gone first ball for the dreaded Golden Duck. Kent lose their 4th. It was a bit of a gamble and in truth a bit of a free hit. So we just get the likes of Sam Billings and co coming in now. What you could say, if we're going to take the positives, Cameron, out of a tough little moment there, he didn't chew up any balls.
Yeah, I think I'll see myself out after that one. It was a very soft dismissal as well. He did look like a bowling all-rounder coming in and not really sure how he was supposed to be playing that situation, but a superb over from Mitch Santner. Now Kent are in a little bit of a hole, but Skipper Billings out.
Yep.
In good form.
Captain's innings required. The rate, which was just over 10 a couple of overs ago, went up to 11. It's now over 12.
And fellow New Zealander international Smith now on. Oh no. Oh no.
That is all happening. That is 3 wickets in 3 balls, would you believe? And importantly for Kent, it is Zach Crawley who has gone. A complete mix-up with his skipper Sam Billings. It was a yes and a no and a sent back when they were threatening to, and Crawley has gone. A very well-made 45 off 30, but the throw came in and yeah, confusion. And this place has gone eerily quiet, the Spitfire Ground, as Kent lose 3 in 3, as we see it again here.
Disastrous 3 balls here for Kent. Yeah, nipped out is, oh, that's Mitch Santner with a bullet arm, to be fair, but without the confusion, you would have imagined Crawley would have got home, but it was a yes and a no. Crawley understandably frustrated. And that brings out, you'd imagine, Jack leaning in for his first bat of the tournament. Bit of a point to prove after his outing in the field. Experienced player, but it is 2 new guys at the crease now.
Well, he's a good guy, Jack Leaney, to have coming in at 7. He's played some fine hands under the lights here at the Spitfire Ground since his move from Yorkshire. Lots of partnerships with Jordan Cox in that trophy-winning season. But he was, of course, left out of the team for the first couple of matches. So he'll have a point to prove too with that. He hasn't, in truth, been in the best of touch in the championship. The big scores have been eluding him.
Good opportunity this, though. Come into the blast, into the different format, try and get yourself into some form. With Benjamin's injury, it's given him the opportunity. Clipped out into the same region. I'm sure they won't try it again. Just the one. A lot of pressure here on Billings, you'd have to say.
Yeah, well, there was definitely a mix-up, wasn't there? There was hesitation in that kind of coming back for two with Zach Crawley. Not quite sure who was to blame, really. It was difficult to tell. We're 100 yards away at kind of third-man angle. But, you know,
he was running to the danger end.
Yeah, you know when Billings is at the crease that everything goes up a notch.
Once again, dug in from Smith, as it has been pretty much the whole over. Kent's innings stalling a bit here with those wickets.
Yeah, two new batters. That's the issue. It's the kind of golden rule, isn't it? Don't go bang bang, and Kent have gone bang bang bang.
Rate up to 13 now.
Rogers' first ball, and then Crawley run out. 3 wickets in 3 balls. Billings will want two. Billings will get 2, but he says no. I think maybe the run out is just
the back of his mind there.
Yeah, just played a part in not coming back for 2. Good bit of fielding. Surrey looking sharp out there. They've got a spring in their step at the moment. They've, remember, played 3, lost 2. Just the 1 win against Glamorgan, and they're sniffing their second win of the campaign here.
I'd say it's been the difference between the two sides so far has been the fielding. 2 run-outs. And Kent had a few chances and weren't quite able to take them. Slower ball, Billings has gone through a bit.
Yeah, this could be out as well. It's going to take some catching. Gone. Billings has gone, and it is Jordan, and he had to hair in for that. And Chris Jordan, who goes from long off to long on, and Billings punches his bat. He's furious. Yeah, good bit of bowling from Smith. It was the slower ball, and he went for the big shot. And Jordan came herring in, and then had to stop. And then, I mean, you can tell by his reaction, he got a little bit lucky there, Chris Jordan. He probably ran in a little bit too quickly, and then had to apply the brakes and remember to catch the ball. But Chris Jordan didn't drop many. And it is a second important catch for him.
Well, if there was a man for a crisis, it's Grant Stewart. He's got a miracle in him.
Well, he was the pick of the bowlers, Grant Stewart. He's having a fine season. He got an unlikely 100 in the championship when Kent needed him most.
Chris Benjamin.
Yeah, Chris Benjamin just walking past. He might have played an important part, but he's got his shoulder not in the sleeve of his jacket, so probably in a sling, I would think, so that doesn't look good. He wanders past us. I've seen Joey Everson wander past us a couple of times as well. He's coming back from injury, so Kent do have their injury problems. They've got a pretty decent 11 out on the park tonight, but it's coming second at the moment. Had 4 wickets in a couple of overs, and it has just pulled the rug from under this innings. And Jordan, with a couple of catches, is now back into the attack. Leaning thumps that into the leg side, but the men positioned well. Jason Roy at deep mid-wicket.
Which of these 2 is going to provide the Laurie Evans injection that Kent desperately need? Because to be fair, there was a period, maybe not quite as dramatic as the collapse we've just had, where Surrey lost a few. Parkinson and Stewart, I think, got 4 wickets in a spell of 4 or 5 overs.
Yeah, well, I'd say that Grant Stewart's got the kind of the power, but he is a bowling all-rounder. He can come good with the bat on occasion, absolutely. But Laurie Evans is a seasoned exponent, top order batter. Grant Stewart is not that. Jack Leaning hasn't been in the best of touch, so Stewart drills this one to long off. He's going to get the single, so someone's going to have to play extremely well here and bat out of their skin for Kent to even get close.
It will be a good time for Jack Leaning to come into some form. It'd be a big confidence booster.
What he is good at doing, Jack Leaning, I've seen it over the last 5 or so years, 4 or 5 years of doing this job. He targets that leg side. He likes to get across. So you see where he's batting, his toes are outside off stump. He will want to shuffle a bit further than that, try and pick Jordan up onto the leg side. But, Jordan not offering him that option. He goes wide, he goes Yorker.
Jordan's been very impressive.
Yeah.
Showing all of his experience and international class here.
We said before, if you can hit a good Yorker, it's the toughest ball of all to strike for 4 or 6.
Smith's been good in this period as well, Nathan Smith. Bowled really tightly, used that slower ball effectively. Yeah, beaten for pace there.
Yeah, people forget Chris Jordan's pace. He's got the slower ball, he's got the Yorker, but he's a guy that can bowl high 80s. So you don't have your wits about you, and he bowls on pace, and you're anticipating something else. He's through you before you know.
The naked eye, he's looked the quickest on the show this evening.
Yeah, plan a miss again from Grant Stewart. This is a tall order. I mean, part of me likes the fact that Grant Stewart's come in with 6 overs to go. We're so used to him coming in with maybe 6 or 7 deliveries. But, he's got a little bit of time here if he can get himself in. I know it doesn't seem a lot, 6 overs, but 36 balls in the context of a 20-over game is a decent amount of time if you've got the power that he has. So, you know, even if he's kind of 3 off 8,
yeah,
and suddenly go bang, bang, bang and clear the ropes. Wonderfully bowled by Jordan again. Just thought that Surrey might go pace off, but he just knows his strengths, and his strength is the Yorker, and he's got most of them in tonight.
Credit where credit's due. Sam Curran has surrounded his bowlers really well and shuffled them around like you'd expect. Mitch Santner, who's been bowling so effectively, to have had an elongated spell. He hasn't. He's only bowled one over at a time. Even now, that's Nathan Smith off again. Curran himself brings himself on.
Yeah, well, I think it's a way, and I know these batters have just come in, so it doesn't necessarily apply, but you bowl an over here, you're out, the attack. You don't get lined up in quite the same way as if, I mean, don't forget, Dan Worrell had 3 up top, so he'd done most of his work, and that does enable Curran then to just keep chopping and changing.
Short, drilled. Grant Stewart, has it got the legs? No. And he's been taken as well. Had to go for it. Kicked in from Sam Curran. Flat batted all the way out there to long off and taken.
Jason Roy doing the fielding. The man who's fielding won a World Cup.
Yes.
Going to...
let me remember that.
Yeah, not
Peter Times.
Peter Times as Sam Curran. Clever bit of bowling. Banged it in, and Grant Stewart trying to flat bat that straight. Got it a bit high on the bat. And Roy running round, fingers pointing up. Just clutches it to his chest. And that is the end of Stewart. And with him, you think probably goes Kent's chances.
You think so? That because he was the power hitter.
Yeah, and that's just no disrespect to a Jack Leaning, who's a decent player with a good T20 record, and the likes of Freddie Klassen and the bowlers. But just feel that Stewart had to have one of those.
Yeah,
he's out that he's capable of having, albeit infrequently, because he is a lower order batter, but he does have the power. But he has gone. Jason Roy.
Well, Freddie Klassen.
Smart catch.
Freddie Klassen comes in off his highest ever score from yesterday. His highest T20 score of 14.
He's in some touch. He's a confident man, is Freddie Klassen. I've thrown a few balls to him this pre-season, and he's... There you go.
Yep.
Leaning will want to... he won't take Jordan on. Long on to long on. So incidentally, that Jason Roy throw to win the World Cup, I did an event with Jason Roy and Josh Butler and Darren Gough at the Long Room, and I got Jason Roy to reenact the World Cup winning moment for a cricket ball from one end of the Long Room to Josh Butler over about 10 tables, a few glasses. There's a little bit of pressure on it.
I was going to say. That I want to actually commend the shot. An audacious shot, nicely timed.
Well, we look at Jack Leaning's face there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's grinning. He is in no means happy. I think what that smile says to me is this is how my season is going.
Yeah.
He's at times looked really good in the nets, and I'm thinking he's he's one score away from just rediscovering his best form. I mean, he got a decent piece of that, drilled it, backward point, takes the catch.
Sibley.
Yeah, Dom Sibley, straight to him, went to him like a rocket, and like you say, you'd be pretty pleased with the contact that you've made on a reverse sweep off a medium-fast bowler.
I'd be delighted with that.
Yeah, you'd normally take that kind of contact, but the season that Jack Leaning has had so far,
Yep.
he just looks to me like a batter who needs just a little bit of luck to go his way, and things can turn.
Difficult situation for him to be in.
Almost impossible situation, and he's trying to do his best for the team, and you can't really blame him getting out in that fashion. He's got to make something happen. He's got to find the fence. The offside field was up and made it a pretty smart option, but he's gone.
Where's Agar? Slower ball. There we are. He's survived one more ball than yesterday. The bat sponsors will be very happy. He's off the mark.
So Kent in danger of getting bowled out here. The required rate has gone up above 17. It was when Denley and Crawley were going, it was a very manageable 10.4, 10.3, and they were very much up with the run rate. But that Mitch Santner over has just killed them.
Yeah. Oh, there goes Fred Clarkson.
And there's some ironic cheers from the Kent faithful. I don't think they're getting too carried away with that rare Clarkson boundary.
Yeah, because in all seriousness, they have lost 6 wickets for now 14 runs after that boundary. It's a collapse of some proportion.
Yeah, well, Denley, we were 109 for 2 when Denley went at the end of the 13th.
Yeah.
109 for 2, 109 for 3, 109 for 4, 110 for 5, 113 for 6, 117 for 7, 118 for 8. So that is a pretty poor few overs that have
ripped the heart out of this chase.
Absolutely ripped the heart out of it. And it was a shame because it was shaping up as a good game. I thought at one stage, I think I said that Surrey had their noses in front, but not much more than that. But clever bit of bowling from Santner, bit of captaincy from Curran, bringing Santner on from the Nackington Road, which wouldn't have been the obvious choice, but it was a canny bit of bowling and some canny captaincy. And here is the man in question. It's Santner. 3 overs, 3 for 17. He's going to finish off here from the Nackington Road end. He's got Freddie Klassen, and that's a wide. Just a hint of turn. Trying to stay away from that leg side boundary. Grinning is James Treadwell, who used to take the pace off the ball when he bowled, of course. So you'll probably be quite enjoying this from Mitch Santner. Just short and wide. This one's cut. And, a bit of work to do on the deep.
Nicely.
Yeah, deep point fence. Big fast bowlers here. Just making me nervous in them sprint between the wickets. We don't need any hamstrings.
No.
Got enough injuries to bowlers. But a few people leaving the ground. Just early exit from some of the Kent faithful.
Fred Clarkson, while he's still in.
He might not be for much longer. No, that's okay. He's hit it badly enough to not get caught.
Placed, at least from Clarkson there.
These fans that are leaving the grounds, they won't have witnessed the Freddie Klassen's night, as it will come to be known in years to come, when Klassen smashes a quick 70 off 20 to snatch the unlikeliest of wins. And they left early and they didn't see it.
No.
They head for the exits. Another one that's hit badly enough not to be caught.
I think Matt Parkinson, I think, is going to be a bit salty not to be out in ahead of Agar, I feel. I think he fancied himself.
Yeah, so they're the fans. Starting to head for the exits, as this one is hit nicely and another boundary.
Freddie Clarkson.
Yeah, Freddie Klassen, I tell you.
One away from his high score.
Beginning to motor, striking at over 200 is our Fred. What a story this would be. Clutching at proverbial straws we are, but stranger things have happened. I say that, I can't think of too many stranger things.
No. The score is tied now. Off 7 deliveries, this 14 off.
Yeah, there's been a combination of some nice strokes and some strokes that have gone in the air towards fielders, but hit badly enough not to carry.
Yes, I'm enjoying this Agar performance. 2 of 2. Oh, he's using his feet.
But Wes Agar is properly built, isn't he? You look at him and he looks like he enjoys the gym. He's a massively strong boy who can propel the ball at upwards of 85 miles an hour, and yet for a man as strong as he is, he's plinking it out there at the moment.
Yes, reminds me of myself. All the muscles and just doesn't go anywhere. Gordon coming back to finish off his spell. Yeah, it's been a mighty fine night for him. Missing up to him is Big Wes.
Just a reminder that there are tickets available for the Hampshire game on Sunday, 2:30 start. Tickets.kentcricket.co.uk. Do come and join us, and if you can't make it, please do listen in on the stream as we bring you coverage of that game, courtesy of Cluberly, and that is an extraordinary shot, and the result is a dot ball as Wes Agar tries to go across and paddle sweep Chris Jordan's on-pace delivery. Jordan smiling, Agar smiling.
He was half trying to play the shot and half trying to get out of the way of the ball.
Yeah, I think he was maybe anticipating the slower ball or perhaps the Yorker. Fine leg is going back now, but yeah, that's...
Ended up diving out.
Well, I'm pleased he dived out the way, because had he not done so, that was a ball of about 87 miles an hour heading straight for his throat.
Giving himself room.
Yeah, option is to give yourself room. Bit of a
place the fine leg.
Old Sussex cut, but fine leg had gone back, mainly because of the previous attempted stroke. The good news is, though, it brings Klassen on strike, the man of a 200 strike rate.
Yeah. Gets one more, and that's him breaking his top score twice in 2 days, in some form. Showing the others quite how it's done. Oh, there it is.
Makes a nice sound, doesn't it? Into the floor and up over the bowler. It's a pistol shot sound. Klassen's bat. You mentioned earlier the Surrey attack. You had Jordan, Curran, Smith, Worrell, international class bowlers.
It has shown this evening.
They've shown their pedigree, haven't they? Getting a little wayward when they started. High class from Chris Jordan. At this stage of games, the required run rate goes up to bonkers kind of numbers. It's 24 at the moment, so possible. Unlikely, but possible.
I'll be honest, I haven't looked at that in the last 3 overs. I've just been enjoying Freddie Klassen. Dug out well.
Jordan. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. He just flicked the bail. I thought for a minute he might have missed and just saw the bail hit the floor. So Agar run out and never quite got going. The big Australian. So
very tidy bit of work, and that's 3 run-outs for Surrey.
3 run-outs, a couple of really good catches. It is what this man is all about. Just a little underarm flick, like a dive pass from a scrum half at the stumps. He had good 2.5 to aim at. Clipping the leg stump was good enough, and it means that Matt Parkinson comes out.
I'm looking forward to
it with it all to do. 138 for 9.
In my conversations with Matt, he has fancied himself.
56 to win off 2.1. He can fancy himself all he likes. This is not happening. What I would say is that every run that Kent can eke out in this situation, you just never know. You know, net run rate can come into things. We know that sometimes there's kind of difference between 3rd and 5th in a group can be, you know, hopefully Kent will cruise into the knockout stages, but if it does get tight, you don't want to lose by big margins. So every run counts.
These 13 balls are still important for Kent. Oh, beautiful. Tucked Cut nicely. I can't imagine they're going to come back for 2. Parkinson nicks the strike for the next over. Good counting. Well, the Kent fans still enjoying themselves, no matter the result.
Well, to be fair to the club, they do it well here at the Spitfire Ground. Good music, good interval antics with Stevie. It was 100 quid donated courtesy of Shepherd Neame. I mean, what's not to love?
Well, on the music front, I'm still campaigning for a bit of Will Young to come up, but hopefully, hopefully Sunday.
Here is Nathan Smith returning from the Nackington Road end, and Yorkers have been a feature of this Surrey bowling performance. Another one fired in at the boots of the batter, Matt Parkinson, this time. Squeezes away to fine leg.
It's the
Or a single. Yeah, Klassen's on strike. Come on in, Cameron, what's going to happen?
A lofted drive, 1 bounce 4 over Chris Jordan's head.
Okay. Ongoing stumps everywhere.
Okay.
Something in the middle.
Yeah. Went to Jordan.
Yeah, but 1 bounce over his head for 4. It was some way off that. So we'll call that one a draw.
Oh, yeah.
Let's play this game then. So Smith to Parkinson. Shall I go first this time?
You go first this time, yeah.
I'm going to take a nudged single. This is Parky's want.
That was mine. No. Well, you didn't say to the leg side. I'm going nudge single to the leg side. Oh.
He's backed away and gone offside. Do you know nothing about Parkinson?
I need to study his batting some more.
I would have gone leg side as well, incidentally, but I didn't want to be as specific. Right, your call.
Okay. Bit shorter in length, and I'll be honest, just kind of clinked to the leg side here. What are you going with?
I'm going Klassen's getting all of this. He's hitting it into the flats.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little shuffle across and a whip. Oh, he did try it as well. I think you win with a plink into the leg side.
Every single, though, important for Kent this. Sadly, even Laurie Evans' last 450 is probably, in the end, not going to have caused too much of a difference. Struggling with 150.
You say that, but if that catch had been taken and Evans had gone, Kent would have been chasing maybe 150, 160 instead of 190. They pace their innings differently. As Smith is in, and this is a close LBW. Treadwell says no, and he walks square of the stumps.
No, you're very right there. Well, although the run-outs in a bit of brain-faded moment, I think that was the real kicker, to be honest with you. Okay, Rogers coming in, bit of an experiment, went first ball. Was
that can happen.
But you still had Billings and an in.
Well, Crawley's
Crawley.
in. Yeah, that was the chance. Was Zach Crawley well set on 40 odd?
Yep.
That was the killer. Get a single here. Freddie Klassen, he continues just to tick along. It's a slow death for Kent this, but what I would say is that Surrey have been better in every department, really. Certainly the fielding. Kent just weren't great with the ball in the power play. Early on there was a bit of width to Ollie Pope. I think you made the point on commentary that Pope and Sibley, they were rattling along without really doing anything too expansive. They were just putting the bad balls away. Pope had 3 or 4 cut shots which were just regulation cricket shots that he just put through the gap, and they were going at 8 and over without really trying. And I think whilst Kent got off to a decent start despite the loss of Daniel Bell-Drummond, it was 190 felt too many on a sluggish surface.
Yeah, I certainly think that will be what will disappoint Kent probably the most. You had Surrey openers who had struggled for the start of this tournament, who were kind of gifted a start, and from there they didn't really look back. Positives would certainly be the fight back from Kent, from Grant Stewart, Matt Parkinson during that middle period. Thought they were excellent. And also that partnership between Denley and Crawley was a really, really good one.
So shy at the stumps here. That could have been the end. Yeah, look, high points for me. There's some good performances with the bat, notably Zach Crawley continues his fine form. Remember, his game against Hampshire will be his last in Kent colours for this T20 Blast campaign. You'd imagine, I suppose stranger things can happen, he does get left out of the test side, that he could return. Other high points, probably the curry at the interval, as this one is pulled up in the air by Klassen. He's found the gap. How much of it has he got? Not enough to go to the boundary. Get back for 2. So yeah, thanks to Danny and Abby of the Oriole Cafe for the chicken mushroom curry. That was absolutely delightful.
That's certainly a high point from this evening.
Yeah. And thanks to Cluberly, of course, for their support of our stream coverage. Save Invest support. Cluberly, the first savings app for sports fans. Do check them out. And they'll be with us throughout this T20 Blast campaign.
The personal highlight has to be this innings from Klassen, though. His highest score, ramping up here now to 21 not out.
Yep, putting the class in Klassen tonight.
Oh, beautiful. I've waited almost 40 overs for a moment from you like that. That was wonderful. Come on, Parky. Oh, beautiful.
Just a reminder that Kent were 109 for 2 when Joe Denley picked out Chris Jordan off the bowling of Mitch Santner, just tried to come down the wicket. Santner bowled it wider, Denley towed it to long off. So there was a bit of a collapse from that point onwards, which Kent have not recovered.
No, but the tail has somewhat wagged. If you think Grant Stewart went out at 117 for 7, and we've got our way up to past 150. And that will be that.
Yeah, that wraps it up. So the Kent Spitfires 42 short of Surrey's target. Surrey's score of 193 for 7. Some decent performances from Kent from a batting perspective. Tawanda Mayeye with 28 off 21, 26 off 21 rather. Zach Crawley, an excellent 46, continuing his fine form, and Joe Denley 28 off 22. Not to forget, of course, Fred Klassen's unbeaten 21 off 16 deliveries right at the end. But Surrey, too good. They've underachieved in T20 cricket. I think it's fair to say Surrey, they won the inaugural competition back in 2003. They haven't won it since. You always feel that they'll be there or thereabouts. They're a talented outfit, all forms of the game, and they have been too good this evening. Half centuries from Ollie Pope and a wonderful 62 off just 26 deliveries, 3 4s and 4 6s from Laurie Evans. He was put down by Jack Leaning. He's on about 20. But that innings from Evans in the middle, just as Surrey's momentum slowed, the difference between the two sides. 193 for 7 they posted. And Kent, going well at one stage, rather fell away. And they have lost here by 42 runs. The Spitfires, just a reminder that it is Hampshire up next on Sunday, 2:30 start for that one. Tickets.kentcricket.co.uk to get involved in that and come down and support the Spitfires. They have lost for the first time in this campaign. Big thanks to Cameron Emmanuel Burns for his contribution. Cameron, you'll be back Sunday?
Yeah, you haven't got rid of me yet. I'll be back on Sunday, where Kent will be looking to bounce back quickly. Looking
to bounce back against Hampshire, another fine one-day outfit with good T20 pedigree. We'll be joined by Jazz Singh as well in the commentary box. Big thanks to Martin McKay. Good to see the big fella come down and do a little stint on commentary. But ultimately, it is Surrey who have prevailed here. They have won by 42 runs. All the post-match reaction will be on our social media, so do look out for that. And we will see you on Sunday. But it's over and out from us here on the stream coverage. Thanks to Cluberly for supporting the stream. We'll see you next time. Good night.